Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Pixel Response Podcast. As always, I am one of the hosts, Paul, and with me is my good buddy Nathan in his yellow shirt.
Episode 113. Oh yeah, this is a shout out. It's a band shirt. I don't wear it most of the time because it has a stain on it. But you probably can't
I was wearing
tell.
a yellow shirt for the last 2 days, and it had your face on it.
I don't know if I'd call this yellow. It's kind of a cream color, but maybe the light makes it look weird.
Yeah, it looks a little bit more yellowish. But anyways, how are you doing, sir, today? Good day?
Yeah, today was pretty good. We've just been today and yesterday, just been marathoning tons of shows, just watching tons of televised entertainment. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know. There's some good ones out there. I guess kind of a thing we accidentally ended up doing was watching like a lot of murder mysteries. It seems like that is what people make shows about. So,
okay. Which ones?
True Detective, the new hotness on
Everybody
HBO.
keeps talking about that.
Everyone keeps talking about it. I know. You'll get the true scoop here on Pixel Response.
Okay.
We were also watching Broadchurch, which is a David Tennant show. Brittany and I, fans of that era of Doctor Who specifically. So we're like, hey, what else did that dude do? Oh, he did this murder mystery show over in the UK. All right. So we started watching that. We started watching that a little while ago, but we watched another one today. And what was the other one? Hannibal is back. It started yesterday.
Oh,
the second season. So we watched one episode of that. Which I like this new trend. I don't know how new it is, but like the networks just putting their shows up for streaming on their website because it's just like
I don't think that's new. It might just be new to us because
we started jacking American internet essentially, like just hiding our IP. So yeah,
exactly.
For those in the United States, you may be like totally bored of this thing and just like, well, yeah, people have been doing that forever. Up here in Canada, we don't know why, but we have like lame ghetto stuff sometimes. Like
I think it's a CRTC thing, right? Like there's actually like almost like a council of people here that have made it. So it's like, no, you have to pay for cable sort of thing to be able to access shit, and they can go fuck themselves.
I guess that's. I know like part of their mandate is to like ensure there's a lot of Canadian content being broadcast and all that, which is fine. Like whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like if that is in some way inhibiting like internet from being better, that's kind of lame. So yeah, the powers that are trying to ruin our good time don't know where we live, so that allows us to go and watch TV shows on the internet, and you feel like you're kind of helping because you're watching a couple commercials here and there, and they are able to see like, hey, look at all these people that are watching the new episode of Hannibal on our website. We might renew this show now, as opposed to just stealing it. Which, sometimes
don't
you have
get me wrong. Though. They know where you are. They just can't stop you with the the government here always knows where you are.
What? Are you serious?
They're looking at you right now.
I guess we do have this Connect up there on top of the TV, so yeah.
Yeah, they're using that.
Hey, everybody. Hey, government. Thanks
for tuning
into the show. I mean, they get to watch the show even when our viewers don't. So they saw Brittany and I just sitting on the couch all day watching TV. So hope you enjoyed that, creepy people.
That seems really boring. That would be a boring show, watching people just watch something. Like you don't even get to see what they're watching.
Is couple 91327 doing anything weird? No, they're just sitting there. Okay, fine. Don't worry about it. Nothing.
I think I would like that though. I think I would like to be the guy in a room with like 1,000 monitors and just being able to see what people are doing at all times. I think I would like that knowledge.
It's like Ozymandias in Watchmen or something. Like you just sit there with your tiger and you have like a giant wall of screens and you're just like seeing humanity in front of you. It's just like, yeah.
Like I'm thinking specifically in what's the music video now for I think it's Hand That Feeds by 9 Inch Nails.
Okay.
Where it's just like a whole bunch of different monitor screens, and that's like the video sort of thing. And it's like in an apartment complex, and there's like just people doing random normal stuff, and in the one, that's where they're like playing the song or something.
Oh, okay.
Was it Hand That Feeds? I can't remember. And then like, yeah, you see like the SWAT team or whatever trying to censor them and coming in to get them sort of thing. And it's like through the different monitors or whatever, you see them going down the hallways and shit like that and like silencing the people.
Weird. Okay.
But anyways,
that's a little silly, but sure. You gotta stop the Nine Inch Nails. They're too crazy. Trent Reznor is saying too much crazy shit. You're gonna break people's minds. I don't know.
He wasn't a fan of Bush. But then again, not a lot of people were. So,
yeah.
Get in line.
I guess, okay, so it was that era. This is not like 90s Clinton kind of stuff.
No, specifically, I think it was 2006 or 7-ish.
Okay.
Maybe so 5 even.
Wrapping up his run. Oh, I guess that was mid-second term or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, murder mystery shows. Like, it's kind of been a little, too much of the same subject matter. Like, it's just like, yeah, grisly murders. And you're just like, okay. But I guess you kind of get to see, like, a few different approaches each of these shows are taking to, like, sort of the same subject matter. Like, it's like Broadchurch is very kind of about the family of the person who was killed. And kind of, like, they factor into the show in a big way. Whereas True Detective is just about these two detectives and them kind of delving into this underworld and also how it's affecting their lives and whatever. And yeah, that
for the better, right?
No, not really.
Diving in the underworld always affects your life for the better.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like, I mean, for the Family Guy, Woody Harrelson, it's kind of ruining his life. But for Matthew McConaughey, like, it's kind of what drives him, I guess, a bit. So he's kind of going for it, doing this thing, like this, going for this case or whatever, trying to crack it. I guess I'll elaborate on that show after. Hannibal has its own, like, it is becoming more and more just, like, absurd how many extremely creative serial killers live within the same, like, state. Like, it's almost reminding me of, like, how Twister has so many giant record-setting tornadoes in, like, the same 2 days. And you're just like, this is stupid. Like, this has never happened. And it's, like, just as totally out there in terms of plausibility of, like, yeah, another, like, 50 corpses showed up. And you're just like, what? Like, that's, like, record-setting serial killing. Like, that is, like, every time out, it's, like, one of the worst serial killers has ever happened. And they not only are killing a lot of people, they're, like, making them into human instruments, was one from last season. They're growing mushrooms in them. Or, Hannibal, he's, like, experimenting with all this highbrow cooking and whatever, like, learning some new recipes, got to get some more victims. Like, it's like, every serial killer is not just, like, killing some cab driver or something. Like, it's like, no, they are, like, seeking out specific people to fit into their, like, weird art piece. And it's just like, this is so stupid. Like, but the show is so, like, downbeat and, like, melancholy and, like, serious about it that it's kind of still works for me in this weird way. And, like, I guess the thing that show has going for it is, like, it's two lead actors, and I'm not including Lawrence Fishburne in that. It is Will Graham, the character, and Hannibal Lecter. Like, seeing those two guys kind of spar with each other is, like, what makes that show work out. So it's like, Hannibal's the suave serial killer that's, like, wolf in sheep's clothing, rather. The opposite. Sure. Kind of working with the cops.
Wolf
but,
in
like,
sheep's clothing.
Yeah, sheep in wolf's clothing, it's kind of inverted. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it's fun to kind of see that play out, and it's well shot and put together and everything. But it's, like, kind of hard to take seriously in a way. It's, like, very kind of trashy entertainment in a way. Like, it's just, like, sordid, gross murders. Like, that's what the show does well, but I don't know. I still sort of enjoy it. But yeah, True Detective is kind of just, can't escape it. People are just talking about it. People who don't even watch TV are recommending it to you on the streets, and you're just like, what? Why is everyone? I didn't know everyone here was either subscribed to HBO or totally okay with stealing it. Like, everyone has it somehow. Everyone's watching it. Yeah, I don't know, like, where to kind of start. I mean, it's got very, high profile actors in it. Like, Matthew McConaughey is nominated for an Oscar right now. Like, he's kind of on hot streak, so he's, like, a star of this show. That's a pretty big get. Woody Harrelson's doing some good business in here too. So, like, just having two actors you've heard of in this show, like, it's like, okay, like, that makes sense. Huge. Yeah. But it's, like, a well put together piece of programming. Like, I'm not gonna diminish. I mean, it is really well trodden ground of, like, murder mystery serial killer stuff, but it's, like, so far impressing despite that. Like, it's like, amongst one of the better versions of that kind of tried and true formula that I've seen in quite a while. And just like some really kind of showboating camera work was in this last episode, but it's still kind of awesome to see. Like there is like, I've heard other people talk about it, like when they see this episode, it's just like, oh wow, look at that. But there is like an extremely elaborate long take scene in the 4th episode of the show. Like it's just like this giant action sequence essentially that is all done in one kind of really well staged, blocked and choreographed, like a one shot thing with like the camera going all over the place. And it's like, I've seen that before in things, but like this was a very good execution of that kind of thing. And it was pretty cool to watch. It was like, wow. All right. Like that was pretty crazy how many extras they had running around, helicopters and cars and all this stuff going on. Like that's kind of crazy to see. So good job, you guys. But really the core of that show is just its two characters and seeing them kind of play off each other. And like, really for me, it's McConaughey's character, his just like really dry, downbeat, super nihilistic take on humanity. Like it'd be like, there'd be like exchanges between the two characters where, Woody Harrelson's having some marital problems. So he'll be like, man, do you think a man could love two women at the same time? And McConaughey will reply to that, I don't even know if man has the capacity to love, like at all, And he'll just elaborate on this really not optimistic view of the way people are. And it's just like, all right, like that guy is sure. What a downbeat guy. What a melancholy guy. It's kind of cool. And I like the framing narrative of the show. Like there is, kind of contemporary interviews with the two cops years after the case, and they're kind of like setting up, like it's just like, oh yeah, that's what led us to this next big clue or whatever. And then like it kind of goes back to 1995 when they were doing this initial investigation. And I don't know like what that is going to lead into. Like it's kind of just two timelines in the show, and you're not sure if it's going to do that thing where, oh, at some point the serial killing story catches up to modern times. It turns out they got the wrong guy and he's still out there or something like that. But it's neat to see this unfold. And I guess what I like about this, the whole notion of the show is it is one 8-episode show, and that's it. Like it is an anthology story. Like it's not an anthology story, but it's rather the series True Detective is not an ongoing thing with the same characters. It is this season we have Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson dealing with this thing, and that is this story. And over the course of the 8 episodes, that entire story will be told. So it's kind of like watching just a giant movie. And yeah, it's really easy to just go through a bunch of them. Like we started watching it yesterday, and we have watched 4 of them. So that's like 4 hours of show. And it's like, I don't know, goes down smooth. I guess we're kind of, the next 2 episodes, the last one of the season is on the 9th. So we're kind of wondering, like, do we want to catch up and then have that thing of like having to wait for the next one, or just we binged half of it, now we'll wait for the other 2 to come out and then we'll binge the other half. Like, I don't know. That's kind of a new problem of how do you want to watch your show. But yeah, I guess, sorry, I was kind of like, speaking of binge watching, House of Cards season 2, another high profile television program.
I have been starting to catch up on that. I'm halfway through season 1.
Yeah.
So I won't. That show opens up a lot more than I thought it would. After, I think I said the 3rd episode. I'm pretty sure it's the 4th episode now that I'm thinking about it. Because the 3rd episode is where he goes and deals with that giant peach water tower sort of thing. And then it was kind of like, oh, this is just kind of like a quirky little episodes thing. And then after that, the 4th episode and onwards, it's like, okay, there's character development here, and I'm starting to get a weird feel from this show, so I'm intrigued now. You got me.
Yeah, I don't know even what it is, because like that show, if you just describe what it's about, sounds kind of dry or kind of ridiculous, depending on what sentence you use to describe it. But I don't know, something about it is kind of compelling. Like I think it just has about my opinion of politicians on display, of just that they're all assholes and they all are self-seeking dirtbags that want to just climb up the ladder. Like that's all they ultimately care about.
But I mean, the main character, Like that, he has no qualms about it. That's what he's doing.
Sure,
and
yeah.
There's kind of a weird political revenge plot in there too.
Yeah, like he got like he got overlooked for this one spot, so he's just like, well, fuck you guys, I'm gonna go for it. And you're just like, okay, like, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll watch this play out. Like, I'm not sure
great,
who
though.
I'm looking for or what, but yeah, it's like antagonists, or like, I guess, what do you call them? Like, they're not antagonists. What's the one where they're ostensibly the protagonist? Anti-heroes, I guess?
Yeah, okay. They're like kind of bad people, but they're still the protagonist.
Yeah, like that's kind of just seems to be the slate of TV characters of the last decade or two that have really got traction. So it's like everyone loves Walter White for some reason. I started watching The Sopranos this week, which is kind of one of the big... I resumed watching The Sopranos this week, I guess, which is one of the ones that kicked this off, you know? Like Tony Soprano, star of the show, kind of total dirtbag, but something about him is still relatable, and you kind of want to see him make it for some reason, even though he's like threatening to chop people's balls off and like stapling a guy. He used a staple gun on this guy. It's like, what? All right. I don't know. Yeah. So like those kind of characters. And I mean, McConaughey's character in True Detective is kind of unhinged in this weird way. And like, he kind of has this kind of thought about, like, you can be kind of a bad guy, but to like catch bad guys, you kind of have to be. And also, he's just kind of very honest about how much of a train wreck he is, and like the contemporary scenes. Like, he drinks all the time, and it kind of dropped out of the force, but he knows who he is kind of his thing. Whereas, like, I find,
okay then.
Yeah, well, kind of like it's at least honest. Whereas, and I kind of find a similar weird thing about Frank Underwood. Like, he is ruthless, but you know it, and he knows it, and of course he's going to do crazy stuff to kind of climb up the pile. Like, it's like, yeah, he's going to lie to that guy. That's what I still
kind of like too is that with Frank specifically is that I think he thinks he's more diabolical than he actually is. Like, he's very egomaniacal, where he thinks he's like really powerful, and like he is, because he has friends in powerful places, but there's a little bit of delusion there too that kind of makes him relatable, where it's like, when you're wronged, the first thing you're thinking is like, well, fuck that guy, I can take him out, when really maybe you can't. Yeah. Sort of thing. And I don't know, it makes him a little bit more of like a human character in that regard too. There's a little bit of that like egomaniacal, like, I can do this sort of thing. And I think that's what's charismatic about him more than anything else, is that you want him to win because you don't want people to be wronged. You want them to get theirs, even if like it's by some dirty means. Yeah,
it's like he's putting his time, you know, he went down this path, he should get a shot or something. But it's like, but he's kind of like a really well-to-do, lying, duplicitous jerk. But I don't know,
of course.
Like, but it's kind of like, in this cast of characters, like, almost everybody is like, they're like, especially where you're at, like, there's almost nobody to root for right now in an unironic, like, kind of not perverse way. Like, you're just kind of like, everyone's kind of just self-seeking and doing garbage. Like, I don't know who to go for. So you're stuck with this weird batch. But I guess things will open up and other players will come into the mix at some point. I don't want to spoil stuff that's coming down the pipe for you. But let me think. Oh, man, I had a thought and I'm starting to lose it.
To deal with House of Cards. I'm going to say one more thing about House of Cards.
Yeah, okay.
That PSP product placement is hilarious. It's so good.
The Sony product placement specifically, like, it only comes up like once or twice in season 2 at all. But season 1, I remember just like him sitting down playing some Killzone and stuff. It's just like, what the heck? Like,
I think that was like even the first episode, but the one I'm talking about where he's just like, is that a PS Vita or whatever? And then he's like, yeah. And then he says something like, what games does he have? Like, referring to this other guy's kid.
Yeah.
He's like, what games does he have? He's like, I don't know.
Let's talk about the new Sony thing. It's just like, this is weird.
But, like, that's not even the weird part. The weird part, first of all, as he said, is that a Vita, like a PS Vita. He says the name, like, directly. Yeah. But, also the fact that he's just like, you know, I should really get one of these. It would be great for the car. It's just like saying how, like, what use the PS Vita would be, like, great in his life, a powerful politician sort of thing. You're just like, This is weird, man.
It's just like I'm playing some Luminous, and then I put it in my pocket and go and
because usually it's usually like even with drinks, it's a nondescript like white beverage or something, or like the game system. It's not the PS Vita, which would be great.
Call it out by
long
name.
Limousine rides,
or like scene where they're like asking about their new laptop or something. Like it's just like this just kind of broke the reality a little bit. This is a little weird. Sorry, I guess the thing I was going to say is, like, the thing I haven't seen outside of House of Cards and, like, outside of stage plays is, like, the asides to the audience thing. You know?
Sure.
Like, where Frank Underwood will direct address you, the viewer. Like, I kind of like that. Like, it's this weird
I love that.
You're along for the ride kind of thing, but it's, like, also this classic Shakespearean kind of way of addressing the audience. But it's like, yeah, all right. Why not?
And that's one of the things in the first episode that actually drew me in, where it's just like stuff's going on, then he turns to the camera, he's just like blah blah blah, like talking to you, and just like how he's kind of just like this underhanded piece of shit. You're like, okay, I'm in. This is good now.
I don't know, like inviting the viewer into the mix like that directly. I don't know why it works, but I'm totally down with it. Like maybe it's just Kevin Spacey is a charismatic actor or something, but
he is though. For sure.
He's fun to watch. Like, it's like
K-Pax.
It's kind of cool to see like this new, like, well, I don't know. It's not a new trend, but like all these like actors you already were into now have like hours and hours of story to go through and the same character to kind of hang out with. You're just like, all right, yeah, whatever. Diabolical Kevin Spacey, I'll watch 26 hours of that guy and wait for more. Like, that's whatever. That's how it's going. And McConaughey is good too. He's real, he's got a lot of beers. We got Lone Star. It's like this low budget Texas beer, and watching that guy drink those and then cut up the cans is kind of just mesmerizing. I don't know. It's fun to watch.
A lot of beers.
A lot of beers. He downs that 6-pack. I don't know. Television is cool stuff. I guess Sopranos. Have you watched that show ever?
No.
Okay. Like that's just been kind of like on my to-do list for a long time. I guess like Meg 64 brings it up a lot. Like it's one of Rocco's favorite shows. So it's just kind of like, I should watch that. Like, I mean, like it does seem to be in the pop culture timeline, like one of the major kickoff points for like, no, cable programming of this uncompromising nature, like just violent, does not care. Like that show was a big point in that. Like Oz is kind of the first HBO original show that people talk about, but I don't really. Well, I mean, if you go further back, you got like Tales from the Crypt and whatever, right? Like, wasn't that HBO?
Yep.
But that's like all over the map in terms of quality, and there's no consistent narrative. Like this, like I guess the long form television arc, character centric stories, like Sopranos is a big one, so I wanted to watch it. And I don't know, like I'd seen the first 2 or 3 episodes quite a while ago. Like I was borrowing them from the library, which is a terrible way to watch a show because you have exactly 7 days before you have to return it. So unless you're willing to like jam through 13 hours like right now, it's like not going to help you because then you have to return it and then get in line again for the, put a hold on it and wait for it to come in again. So through, totally illegal means, I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to watch this show. Whoa, we lost video feed. Are you?
We did. For me, not for you.
Well, I'm a black screen, but okay. I don't know. I guess I'm digging it overall. Like there are some just neat things to see. Like, you grew up, if you've seen like Godfather and Goodfellas and stuff, like this is kind of in line with that, but way more so. Like there's way more of it. And they also they're very referential of stuff. Like in a way it's like more accurate to like, gangsters who are operating in 1999, 2000 would have seen The Godfather and Goodfellas in my, that just makes sense to me.
Of course.
So that there are little bits where the characters will talk about that is like, yeah, okay. Like that would be a relevant point, like pop culture thing for these people to be aware of. So it's kind of weird how much they talk about it, but it's kind of refreshing in a way. It's like, yeah, that seems like something that would happen.
What do you mean these people?
Gangsters.
Italians.
Mafiosos.
That's what you meant. You meant Italians.
Italian American gangsters in Jersey, yeah.
Right, so
those people would watch those movies.
What the hell is the name for them again? Guidos?
Like Jersey kind of stuff. This is not any of that. Like, this is before the orange spray tan thing happened, at least so far. Right. So a lot of tracksuits and like I don't know, weirdly colorful shirts and whatever, but not anything super in line with modern stereotypes anyway. But yeah, I don't know. It's like seeing all the therapy stuff. Like, the show right now has like a framing of like he always goes to therapy. Like Tony Soprano's kind of trying to work through his.
That's his thing, though, right? That's the thing of that show.
I don't know if that is the ongoing thing throughout all of the show. It seems like that might not be able to happen forever, because like at some point it'll hurt his reputation that he's going to therapy and needs help and whatever. Like, I'm not sure if that's a thread through all of it.
See, I thought that was a thread through all of it.
It could be.
Because people have referenced that or whatever, told me about it.
Okay.
I don't know. But like, I don't know.
It's certainly very recurring in this season I'm watching.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, it's I'm trying to think, like, what is the kind of appeal of the show so far? It's like,
analyze this.
It is kind of like that, actually. Yeah. Speaking of, I guess we'll actually, I'm going to transition to that after this. I guess we'll talk about something pertaining to that. But yeah, I mean, like, I've seen a lot of gangster films, like Scorsese movies and whatever. So seeing this kind of longer form thing is okay. I guess it's pretty slickly put together. Like, that theme song is really good. Like that whole cut together intro and whatever. I guess part of it is just sort of a pop culture interest in, like, this was a big thing. Why is that? And also there's a bunch of stuff later in the series that I'm interested in seeing. Like, I know the guy who created Mad Men worked on this show later in the series. Steve Buscemi shows up at some point in like a recurring role for like a season or so, and I like that guy. Joe Pantoliano shows up at some point. I want to see how he fits into this. So there's things coming down the pipe that I'm interested in, but I don't know, like, Gandolfini's an interesting kind of centerpiece for that show, and that's kind of like his defining role, and he's gone now. So it's like, what was James Gandolfini all about? You can't know that without seeing this. So I guess I'm looking at that. And I guess I'm also kind of just looking at it as like character actors. Like, TV shows was kind of the way people who wouldn't normally be leading men became leading men. And you kind of got
Gandolfini.
Yeah, you got more variety in kind of who is considered a big star, because it's like someone who doesn't have the looks could still be the centerpiece of a big thing and have that to kind of lean on. And it's like, you know, it's not like after that James Gandolfini was like in action movies or something, but his prestige went up after this kind of show.
Well, there is still a disconnect between a leading man for a series and a movie, because like Nathan Fillion could probably be, like, look-wise, the leading man of a movie, but I still don't think he probably has the chops to carry it. Like, he's charismatic, but
so like Castle is a nice fit for what he is, right?
Right, but you can't make a 2-hour movie out of Castle, sort of thing, I guess.
No, like, I'm not saying it's going to transition into feature films, but it's like a way for these actors to kind of have a place and a thing without having to, you know, be the next good-looking.
He was great in Firefly, so like,
he's a fun character there. Like, I mean, it's kind of weird because like we were just talking about True Detective, where like Matthew McConaughey, big-time movie star, is like in a TV show. So maybe too many big Hollywood regular leading men are starting to go over there. But
I think it's a constant paycheck maybe for them.
Yeah. Like, there's also just a total different thing. Like, I mean, Steven Soderbergh's going to TV now pretty much exclusively because there's more creative freedoms there, it sounds like. Like, you can do an 8-hour movie effectively and not have that be balked at. It's just like, no, we can't do that. It's just like, well,
especially for directors that like really like to pace things differently. Yeah. A TV show is perfect for them because then they get to make little movies with their own pacing inside of them too.
Yeah, you get a bigger canvas, if you will. And like one of the episodes of Sopranos I did see was this one, Rocco of Mega 64 specifically cited, which was Tony Soprano is taking his daughter on a trip to a bunch of different colleges to kind of just scout them out and see what's going on. And on that trip, he sees a guy who he thinks might be a former rat who was in witness protection. So he's trying to kind of keep that under, like, not admit to his family that he is in fact this crime boss while also doing something for the family on this trip. And it's kind of like this mini story within the larger story that was kind of neat to see. Although the part that he didn't say was in that was there's also a lot of stuff with Mrs. Soprano, like his wife, and this preacher that comes over and visits, and them kind of talking about guilt and confessing and all this. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this was in this episode, but whatever. Like it wasn't as interesting. I hope it doesn't get to that thing where it's like everyone wants to see what Walter White's doing, but Skylar is just annoying. Like I hope Lady Soprano or whatever isn't as annoying, but
yeah, she can't be as annoying.
She's kind of annoying though, but just domineer, like shrill, I guess, like upset all the time. Like I don't know if that's like a thing. Maybe that's like the one stereotypy thing where it's just like, do Italians really argue loudly or not at all, or is that just?
I'm gonna go ahead and say from experience, immigrant families in general do.
Okay, because there's like shouting matches and kind of like flailing and all this, and I'm just like, is this real? Like, does this ever happen? Because like when I'm upset and have like an argument, it's just kind of long-winded and chatty, but it's not like yelling and throwing stuff. Like it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird. My life is not as dramatic as television. Weird, right?
Go figure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm gonna keep watching that show. It's 86 episodes and then it's over. So, And
is that all you watch for TV?
I think so. Did we talk about finishing Titan? We did, right?
We did finish talking about Titan.
I remember. Sorry,
about Titan.
I do want to actually bring up a thing about this. Is like one of the reasons I'm watching The Sopranos is because more and more, I guess this is just kind of like a significant other quandary, is I need a show that I am the only one interested in watching it.
Yes, 100%. Otherwise, it's like I'm waiting for this person to be able to watch with me, and you're just like, I can't. Like, I'm at work right now for 8 hours, sort of thing. Yeah, I have this show, like I have on this thumb drive, 10 episodes I could get done.
Yeah,
but I know I can't because I have to watch it with this person. That's really irritating.
Yeah, it's this thing where it's just like you're on the one hand happy that it's like, wow, like me and my partner share our interests so much that we both want to watch the show. Cool. Then I'll also have someone I can talk about it with. That's great. However, yeah, you have that thing where it's just like, well, now I can't ever watch it because like she works way more than I do. So, or at opposite times. So it's like, well, she's gone right now. I can't just watch all of this. I can't watch the rest of Broadchurch, or I can't just watch the rest of True Detective or House of Cards or any of these because we're both watching it. So it's just like, Sopranos, do you have any interest in Sopranos? No? Okay, good. I will jam through all of this. And that'll just be my thing.
Actually, last Sunday, that came into play where I had season 1 of House of Cards on a thumb drive because we can't do Netflix at work.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started watching it, and I got 7 episodes in from the beginning, and I was just like, texted her, I'm just like, watch 1 to 7. We will we'll watch from there. And now I'm screwed because I can't watch more. So
yeah, that was with House of Cards. That was actually like I started watching it. Like I watched the first 2 or something, and then Brittany came over and like another episode was on. She was like, "Oh man, this is actually really cool." I was like, "Yeah, all right. I guess we're watching the first 2 again to bring you up to speed." And then yeah. And with Titan, like I watched the first 4, and then it was like, "Oh yeah, anime. Let's get back into anime." It's like okay, but with that, we at least just kept going, and I just filled her in on the blanks because I was like, first 4 episodes, not a lot happened. Like this is what happened. And then we just kind of kept going.
At what point do you throw the rules out, though? And the reason I'm saying this is because we were watching Lost together from the beginning, years back now. Yeah. Years back. We got to season 4, and then we're just like, okay, we're going to put this on hold now because we watched 3 seasons in 2 weeks. Like, we got to
wait a little bit. Big binge. Let's
That's a big time commitment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we took a break, and then, like, I started watching a little bit again about a month ago. And then she got into it again, caught up to the 3 episodes I had watched, and finished the series without me. So it's like, at what point should I give a shit? Because it's like, well, if you can do that, then I'm just going to watch the rest of House of Cards. So there. It's kind of like cheating in a way. It's just like, well, you made out with that guy. I'm going to go fuck this girl.
I don't want to kind of spitefully watch the show. Like, I wouldn't even be able to enjoy it that much.
See, there is spite to it. That's the weird thing, where it's just like, well, I'm just going to watch the rest of House of Cards because you watched Lost, so fuck.
It's like, you go and see a movie that, like, a friend of yours was interested in seeing, but you're just like, well, I had the day off, so I went and watched it. And you're just like, what? That was supposed to be our thing. We were going to watch that. And I was like, I know. I'm, sorry. It worked out. So... yeah, that's becoming a recurring kind of thing. So, yeah, it seems old HBO catalog. Maybe that is a path I can go down. Or, like, what are some other shows? Like, I mean, it's like there's some where we're both kind of interested in at least seeing what it's about. Like Bates Motel. Like, I kind of want to see that, but both a little curious. So, I'm going to wait on that. I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, what are some... like, in any anime, anything, I'm sure she might be interested in. So, like, I can't watch Gurren Lagann or whatever. Or Space Dandy? Is that the new hotness in the community?
Okay, speaking of which...
response? Okay, yeah.
I did catch up on Space Dandy in the last week. That, like, I know what you're saying.
Now I know what you're saying. Animes for jerks.
Gotta get play out of that somewhere. Don't get to use it often. However, Space Dandy is kind of amazing. It's probably my favorite anime I've ever watched. And the reason for that is, how to put this, like, okay, I'm just trying to think in terms, imagine like Spaceballs or something, like this weird parody comedy in space.
Yeah, okay, I've seen Spaceballs quite a bit.
We're not talking about like a direct parody of like Star Wars or something. That's not what Space Dandy's about.
Okay.
It's just kind of like a comedy in space, but it has a very like weird jazz punk feel to it, where it's just, they don't, like, not to give spoilers or anything, but in the first episode, the way it ends is with all the characters dying. And then the next episode, they're just back. Like, they just don't care. They do whatever they want, sort of thing. And it's kind of freeing in a weird way, where there's still like the weird tropes that most anime follows in there. But at the same time, they are fully aware and will just, like, play them out completely. Like, there's a Space Hooters type thing, which is, like, the main place that they like to hang out or whatever for food and drinks and stuff. And it's called Boobies. And they just, like, go direct into the, like, this, like, he likes tits and ass sort of thing. So they don't...
It's like, like, why beat around the bush? This is why I go here. So...
yeah.
It's a little more honest about Hooters than Hooters is.
And then there's just some weird stuff, too, where it's like, you know how Hooters has the owl because it's trying to be like, no, this is about, like, the owl.
It's an owl. What? Owls hoot.
That's Boobies and the bees for the, like, logo have, like, 2 koala bears. Like, it's just dumb, weird shit like that.
Yeah.
And it follows, like, Space Dandy and his crew. They're alien hunters in that they get paid... they get paid to find new races of aliens that haven't been, like, registered yet.
Okay.
And they take them to the registry and they get paid on, like, the rarity or whatever of these aliens and stuff. But the main character of Space Dandy is, like, a quippy, fast-talking sort of, like... I imagine him if, like, Elvis was, like, a comedic representation of himself or whatever.
Okay.
But he's just kind of a failure. He's like the bumbling
Bruce Campbell's performance of him, maybe?
Exactly. 100% like Bruce Campbell. Yeah, I was going to say like Bubba Hotep, but not exactly like Bubba Hotep.
Okay, sure. If that dude was a space captain...
Without all the weird Bubba Hotep-ness.
I don't know if that... Oh, sure. Okay. I'm seeing... it's like Fooly Cooley, so... Okay. Or like some Gynax stuff, like... Panty and Stalking sometimes doesn't really seem to care about continuity. Like, it'll end in a weird spot and then just... Or, like, in fact, Invader Zim is the one I remember. Like, there's a episode where they're flying, like, planets around and they're, like, smashing up the solar system. And then the next episode is just like, whatever. Like, don't even worry about that thing that happened. So, maybe sort of like that in absurdity, but... Does that sound fair?
It's
or
very
no?
absurd, yes. Very much so. But,
and
I
it's
think
funny.
The draw for me is that it just goes and does whatever it wants, sort of thing. And in doing so, like, you can tell that they have fun doing it, sort of thing. Like, it's just a weird, fun Japanese thing. But the nice thing is, it was released in Japan and the US. So you can get the, like, actual dubs, like the English voice acting and speaking, or you could do, like, the subtitles or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking. There's a lot of, just kind of weird shit. One of the biggest tropes in it is that whole, like, did you ever see The Stupids?
Oh, like the Tom Arnold movie?
Tom Arnold, yeah. You know how Tom Arnold and, like, The Stupids in general always had, like, a main goal, not a main goal sort of thing. They were just kind of, like, doing whatever. And they were somehow succeeding in foiling this guy's plans or whatever.
That almost sounds like how Inspector Gadget solves crimes. Or something.
Right, like, but think about how Inspector Gadget solved crimes without Penny. He just kind of fell into it. That's kind of like how Space Dandy accomplishes stuff. Like
it just works out.
In one of the, like, latest episodes, it's just all, like, a big drag race sort of thing in space.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the first thing he says is, like, time to use our final, like, our last resort or whatever. It's just, like, involves him blowing all his shit up to get a speed boost and shit like that. But, like, in that episode directly, he says something along the lines of, like, time to use the final resort, like, 3 times or whatever. Whereas, like, his robot partner is just like, what are you talking about? Like, the robot partner is very grounded in reality, whereas, like, he knows that his captain is an idiot. So there's that play back and forth between, like, the ridiculous side and the person that is you, ostensibly, in the seat being like, this guy is fucking insane, sort of thing. So there's good play between them. And then you have the weird, like, guy, his name is, like, Meow Meow or something. They just call him Meow because he's a cat, basically, like, as the second crew member. And I don't know, there's just weird jokes in there, like his alien race name is a Beetlejuicean, and just dumb little shit like that is kind of funny in its own regard, but it all builds up in this weird, like, universe sort of thing where it's just very absurd in every single way. And it's very entertaining. And the nice thing is it's just the 20 to half an hour minute sort of episodes, so you can go through them pretty quickly. They're only up to episode 9 right now, as of this recording.
Oh, wow. So it's pretty recent.
Yeah, they started in December, I think. The 20th of December or something like that. So they're not a whole lot out right now, but the quality of animation is fantastic. The, like, music and all that sort of stuff at the beginning and end for the Japanese version anyways are some of my favorite I've ever heard. It's very funky and jazzy, which is great, because you know how those, like, intros can last a minute long or a minute and a half long, and you have to hear them every single time. So it's nice when you get a good one that you're I can rock out to this or whatever. It's very smooth, like jazz sort of funk.
Okay,
and I don't.
Sorry, it looks like they're all on the Funimation website for streaming. So that's
probably
cool. Yeah, that's a nice way to check that out. The chat.
It's very, very good. The style of animation is beautiful. Like, you watch it in HD or whatever, it's very crisp and clean. And there are a lot of different variations on the animation in some spots where, like, when there's action, it'll go from the very crisp, clean HD look, like a cel-shaded HD or something, to, like, this weird, like, scratchy mess sort of thing with the movement and stuff. It's very cool looking.
Okay.
Like, aesthetically. Lots of bright colors and stuff, too, which is great for, like, a space type thing. Usually people, like, this is a problem I have with some animes where they just kind of stick to, like, a color palette. This is very, like, we use colors. Like, it's just a lot of colors across the board sort of thing. So aesthetically, it's, like, very good.
Speed Racer, the movie?
Sure.
It's very colorful. That's what I think.
Speed Racer, the movie, is actually kind of fantastic.
In a lot, from a production design standpoint, absolutely. I still thought that monkey was stupid, but,
That monkey's stupid in general, though, even in the anime. I've never liked that monkey.
Yeah,
so.
maybe that's just it. Totally nailed it. Like it's like, yeah, that monkey was stupid. Like, you just don't know the subject matter. Like you are not a sufficient Speed Racer scholar to appreciate how good this is. And I was like, oh, okay. I own it on Blu-ray, but yeah, it's something. I'll give it that. I don't know. I'll check out Space Dandy. I'm intrigued sufficiently. You're saying the Spaceballs, but with a little bit of that Bruce Campbellness or something. So like, all right, sure.
It has the same type of weird, absurd comedy that Spaceballs would have.
That sounds great. I was weirdly into Spaceballs.
In a cartoon version with like a weird, maybe tamer version of Bubba Hotep as the captain.
Okay. And I guess I before I watched Spaceballs when I was like a kid, though, I was outraged at the very idea. I was like, why is there a movie that's just about making fun of Star Wars? Star Wars is great. This is stupid. And it's just like, just
because you didn't get the idea of parody, where parody is actually a love letter to the actual thing.
Like I view parody as like mocking, like same, I was going into Galaxy Quest with like my spine, my like arched up. I was not ready for anything fun. And then I was like, oh, okay, that was actually a good movie.
Okay. Real talk. Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, I like it.
The only time I think Sigourney Weaver has been so fucking hot for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe the hair
just makes it
maybe
work.
The fact that like she's always in a push-up bra or something in that.
Well, they make fun of that very thing. Like she is just the tart on that show, and she hates that. But
it's great. It's movie in general is just fantastic, though.
That's a great
movie. I really
Sam
like
Rockwell, like standing out from that cast.
You're right, he was in that.
I know, like it was like, I don't know who this is yet, but this guy is great, kind of thing. Like this guy's just funny. Like as the security chief, who's constantly scared he's gonna die because he's the red shirt, and like I don't know, there was some good gags in there. It's weird. Tim Allen as a movie star. It was a weird time. It was a different time.
Jungle 2 Jungle.
Yeah, I saw
that was
most
a piece
of that.
Of shit.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of shit movies,
I was gonna say I think we're done with TV talk. Let's talk about shitty movies.
All right, no, we're sort of. It's kind of both. Speaking of shitty movies, there was a pair of gentlemen who love talking about shitty movies named Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, who used to be alive. There you go.
That is okay.
They used to be alive. And they
used to be alive. They were very good, actually. Together, they were the best critic team I think I've ever known in my lifetime. Those two.
They made talking about things fun to watch. And
when they fought about stuff, it was so good. It was so good.
I mean, it's kind of this weird thing of like, they only have like 20 some minutes, so they just throw like really sarcastic, catty barbs at each other. And they don't have time to really resolve the argument. So it's just like, man, they're just fighting. It's just kind of weird.
They were like brothers, though. Like you could tell that they like there was a respect there that goes far beyond just like being friends or something, Yeah, they respected each other's opinions for sure, but they did take jabs at each other quite a bit.
So the point is, for quite a while on the ABC website, they actually had a giant kind of collection of a bunch of their shows from. I think 1990 onwards was this, like in an official capacity, this website existed and I was way into that. However, after the show kind of got rebooted and changed, that went away. So there was no way to watch those. And I loved watching those. I found this, I was just kind of like, I want to watch some old reviews. Like, is there some of those on YouTube or something? There is a collection of them at, I believe, sistelandebert.org. Some guy has just put in effort to get a bunch of these old shows, and way older than I had ever seen before. Like,
when like Ebert was young,
like when Ebert was young, and like I'm talking like the 70s, like before the show was acquired by ABC and like put on a bunch of networks. Like this is like Chicago regional television, like WTTW is like a network it's on at some point, and it's just like old TV. And it's like seeing them talk about the worst movies of 1980 and just like movies I'd never heard of, or like predicting Oscar stuff for 1978. Like just stuff I was just so into. I was just like, man, I just want to watch all these. Like I watched worst movies of 1993 today and found out about the movie Carnosaur that I never knew existed.
I heard about that. Yeah.
It's like Gene Siskel was into it as like a doofy sci-fi comedy. Ebert hated it. And then on the flip side, Siskel thought Cop and a Half was just garbage, and Ebert liked it. So that is the perfect recipe for them throwing like heinous, like just mean little jabs at each other's movies. They're just like, no, I like it. You're just like, no, it's stupid. It's a terrible movie. You're just like, all right, this is fantastic.
Sure.
So, but also seeing like the cheesy intros they had of like for the show, like I didn't remember it. It's like them kind of working in Chicago, and it's like, all right, time to go to the movies. And then people are just giving them a thumbs up like everywhere. Like it's like Roger Ebert,
because that was their thing.
Yeah, like Roger Ebert gets in a cab and then it's just like, hey, it's just like, what is this? And it's like walking down the street and there's like a hot dog vendor and they're giving thumbs up. It's just like, this is so cheesy. I love it. Like small budget TV, great stuff. So I don't know, watching a bunch of Roger Ebert and like Gene Siskel talking, like I guess it gets a little kind of sad because like I watched the tribute episode to Gene Siskel and like that's a little kind of like, oh man, that sucks. Like it's just kind of them talking about
the tribute videos for like Ebert too, though, like the people doing the compilations and stuff, and you're just like, that guy was well spoken. Like I might not have agreed with his opinions on a lot of stuff maybe, but like he had a way of presenting it that I just wanted to hear it every single time. Like
affable, I guess. Like, yeah, I have found some of his appraisals of movies like really weird. Like, it's just like, this is not that bad, or this is not that great. Like, what are you doing? But he just kind of expressed it in a way that was fun to read or hear. And like really watching the show, like that's how I enjoy, consuming his reviews and appraisals of stuff. Like that is fun stuff. And yeah, him and Gene had a great dynamic, and it's cool to see some of that old stuff as it was growing. And then just like them kind of trying to look ahead and like prophesy what's going to happen. Like there's one in like 1984 where they're talking about, that Tom Cruise, I think he's going to be a big deal. And then Gene Siskel's like, well, Matt Dillon is pretty great. And they're just like, well, 20 years from now, I bet you
Tom Dillon
is a bigger star than Matt Dillon. I was just like, that's really great. Cause
really happened for sure.
I know. It's just like, I don't know, seeing them in their time just kind of talking honestly about this, and just like how weird it is seeing this like weekly content, because it was always just like, this is the new slate of movies, doesn't matter what they are, we're going to talk about them. And some of them are just like, oh, this is like a forgotten movie, like no one talks about Windows with Talia Shire. I didn't know that was a movie that existed, but apparently it not only exists, but it's like terrible. So it's just like, I don't know, it's this weird way for me to kind of pick through some movie history. And it's like The Vanishing, that was a movie with Kiefer Sutherland and Jeff Bridges.
That's right. I remember that one. I never saw it though.
Yeah, it's like, not only like I haven't seen it, but they say it's terrible, but it's a remake of a great movie. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm checking my shelves. I have the original foreign film that they're talking.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, what the like? It's like I own stuff that they are now talking about and like piquing my interest in watching. So
and like whatever. The 90s.
From the 90s, yeah. Like just like going back 20, 30 years and kind of seeing some stuff that got overshadowed, or like I'm kind of interested in Carnosaur now. Like, what is that? Where is that? But whatever. So that was a big kind of thing I got way into this week again, is like old Siskel and Ebert stuff. So, and more like really them talking, like the show obviously went on after Gene died, and they kind of had guest critics come in and whatever, and then eventually Richard Roper. But I really wanted to see like the era I was a little too young for to really see most of it was them talking, like Gene and Roger. So yeah, that's been a fun time. It's weird. I'm not watching bad movies. I'm watching people talk about bad movies. So
yeah,
but
which is more entertaining, really.
Yeah, kind of just summations, and also kind of some movies where it's like, I actually did watch that like a lot, like the Beverly Hillbillies remake. I don't know why, but I was like weirdly into that movie when I was like 8. I thought it was fun.
Into Beverly Hills Ninja. I like that movie. It's fun.
I really enjoyed it when I was 10, and then I watched it again when I was 22, and it was like, Chris Farley. So I really wish he had a better thing, like lineup of stuff, because like he was talented. I just wish there was more good projects for him.
You know what I think I liked about that movie is that David Spade was nowhere in it.
He isn't. It's just a Chris Farley vehicle. And I wanted more of those instead of the buddy movie. You know, like it just give him the full reign of the thing. Even when it doesn't work, he's like going for it, and it's like kind of entertaining either way. Like he's got 2 giant fish and he's like swinging them around. I don't know, I don't remember why, but it's kind of funny. So yeah, and that one, there's that dude who's trying to like shadow him the whole time, and he's inadvertently getting hurt like a lot. It was like Inspector Gadget come to life, but better than that Inspector Gadget movie, which I also watched them talk about. But
the Broderick one?
Yeah, that was with a guest critic though, but it was them kind of appraising that movie as one of the worst things that happened. Also, My Favorite Martian, which was another one I was kind of okay with. Like I was like 13 or 14. I was like, Christopher Lloyd is amazing, so I
wasn't ever okay with that one. So
it's probably really bad. I haven't seen it in at least for like a decade and a change. So I believe you, but I really like Christopher Lloyd. So
fair enough. He was in Piranha, one of the best movies.
I haven't seen the sequel, but anyway.
So I haven't either yet. You would think I would, with it being called 3DD.
Yeah, you would think but that would be something I would check out. But
you know what I did check out?
What's that?
I watched that Hunger Games Catching Fire.
Oh, okay. It's a hot new film. People love it.
It's not really new now.
But, I know. Yeah. Well, it came out on home media recently.
It did.
There's that. Yeah. But yeah, made an ass ton of money last year. That's really all I mean. But
so I'm gonna do something I haven't done in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying something about how Hunger Games was Battle Royale version 2.0, but shitty with kids.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. You get the basic gist of how I was feeling.
Derivative, dismissing this as kind of just this also ran on this premise. Yeah, okay.
I have to say, I'm going to retract that statement.
Whoa.
I'm going to retract it, even though it's been like 2 years since I've said that probably now.
Okay.
Anyways, and the reason why is primarily because of Catching Fire, whereas like the Hunger Games itself, the first one or whatever, was kind of just that. Like the draw was them going into these Hunger Games or whatever, fighting blah, blah, blah. There is so much more to that like series than I gave it credit for to begin with, and I think it was kind of ignorant of me to go ahead and just berate it as being reductive of something that came out in Japan a long time ago, when the thing in Japan for Battle Royale specifically was very much just kind of like a gore porn, like let's have these kids kill each other.
Okay.
The reasoning for the Hunger Games in like this series is so not important compared to like the whole revolution idea of like this downtrodden society being oppressed, rising up and like finally doing the revolution thing. And I know people have told me before that was kind of what it was about, and I just thought that they were fanboys and they should go fuck themselves or whatever, standard internet talk sort of stuff.
Yeah, you maybe called them an ass hat, which I threw around this week on Reddit.
Probably not ass hat or whatever, but
yeah,
we'll get back to that because I want to hear what that was in regards to. But Catching Fire is really like that middle ground sort of thing, whereas like there's still the Hunger Games sort of thing for anybody that doesn't know or whatever. Catching Fire, in it, what they're trying to do is kind of silence Katniss by killing her in a way. But the way they're doing that is that they're doing the next Hunger Games a year after she had won by like throwing in previous contestants of the Hunger Games and like this all in the mix now. So these are all like people that have won before, so they're kind of like ruthless killers sort of thing.
Like, to me, this is sounding like The Running Man or something,
It kind of is, and that is not the important part at all, is the actual games itself. The important part is what this movie particularly ends with and what the next movie will open with.
Okay.
Where, like, it's almost like all these people that were the survivors or whatever that had to do the games again. There were some that were just kind of like killers and like fuck faces sort of thing. But a bigger, like about half of them were kind of just like, this is bullshit. Let's revolution time now sort of thing. You know what I mean? There's
so like the shotgun guy in Battle Royale who's like
There's
been there before, and you actually like see them team up with them and stuff. I saw the first Hunger Games movies, but I'm gonna make Battle Royale illusions. For some reason.
Like kind of, but think of that shotgun guy was actually being directed by people in that are holding the Battle Royale thing. Because they want to see the government down too. So there's like back political.
Oh, okay. So there's people
too.
higher up in the process that are also wanting to see society crumble and like the regime fall.
Nobody is happy with this regime sort of thing because it's oppressive and just kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Okay.
The people that are happy are in the first districts because they're rich and stuff.
In the first movie of kind of like a 1984 kind of thing going on, or like, I mean, specifically there's like the gesture of goodwill in the games where like Katniss kind of buries the one person from another district, and then you see them start to kind of throw stuff at the guards and start up a riot. You're just kind of like, okay, there's like a larger canvas is starting to reveal itself or whatever, and I know something's going to happen. I honestly like had no kind of like active beef with Catching Fire, like not wanting to see it. Like I didn't, be like, fuck that shit. It was more just
you
like,
just weren't into like going to the theater and paying for it.
Like, I just don't want to go see that right now. I just don't want to. So I didn't.
Sure.
I like if it popped up on Netflix, I'd click play. Like that's how much investment I have right now. But yeah. Are you saying it's worth more than that? Like it's actually worth getting excited about? It's got some.
No, I wouldn't say it's worth getting excited about, but like if you're going to watch it anyways, there's enough in there to make you enjoy it.
Okay.
I think there's enough stuff going on storyline wise where you kind of want to see what's happening in the next film. And no, before you say anything, I'm not going to fucking read the book. So stop those emails and comments right now. Second of all, like there's enough action stuff happening, even though it does feel a little bit rushed, like Meowth is saying in the chat room, where it's like the second games or whatever that are happening feels rushed. My stance on this so far is that the games and the actual killing of each other is so not important at all in what this series is trying to say about stuff. It's just kind of like in the first movie, it's the like linchpin thing that starts off like people starting to like rethink maybe this is kind of bullshit sort of thing. And the second movie is just kind of almost gimmicky. So the fact that they rushed it, I am kind of okay with in every way. So I'm not concerned about watching. If I want to see people kill each other, there is 1,000 more places I could look.
Yeah, there's going to be so many Titanfall streams in like 10 days. So, people killing each other.
There's that. But I mean, if we're going to just go to the like most like brutal, just like this sort of thing again.
Yeah.
All we want is the brutality. Battle Royale is there. And that is what Battle Royale does well, is just kind of the, like, this is kind of fucked up sort of thing.
Or the Condemned with Steve Austin, Like, there's ways to get that fix.
There is ways to get that fix. If you want a more direct representation in the way the Hunger Games maybe should have done it, if it's going to be brutal, Battle Royale is there. Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
But, like, what Hunger Games is trying to do is more of a, like, political sort of, like, uprising sort of thing, like a revolution sort of thing. And so far, I'm pretty intrigued. I'm a little pissed off because, like they did with Harry Potter, they're going for that sweet, sweet cash grab. They're doing the last book in 2 parts, so there will be...
I was going to ask about that. Like, do you feel that's kind of a obvious catch thing? It's not justified. Lame. Yeah, okay.
I don't know because I haven't read it, so it might be long enough. Like, there might be enough in the book itself that it actually needs to be split into 2 because it's only like about ostensibly 2 hours or so each movie. But I couldn't say for sure. I feel like it's a cash grab.
It seems like I just don't really. There's a lot of this like chasing the next hot franchise thing going on. Like, I mean, Divergent is coming out pretty soon, and I don't know if I'm gonna really care about that. Like, on its face, like, hey, it's a sci-fi movie. It's got Kate Winslet in it and that girl who's pretty good in The Descendants with George Clooney. You're just like, okay, sure. But I know this is only the first taste of like a 4-movie thing. I don't want to put some bets on that, Like, I want just standalone sci-fi sometimes. So, yeah, I'm not jonesing for that really. And like, I mean, they tried to do that with Ender, which I had a little more investment in because I actually read the book just before it came out, kind of just be like, all right, what is this? I've heard this is okay. And it's like, oh, this book's actually kind of cool. And then it's like, this doesn't need to be a franchise. And I don't think it will because it didn't do very well. So now we're going to have this weird, like, remember like Golden Compass? Like how that just kind of burned out? Like that was them trying to do that, but then it's like they didn't even make good on that. Because like, you know, that movie just ends mid-battle kind of, and you're just like, where's the rest of it? You have to read the books because we're not going to finish this. Like that almost seems like, you know, there's potential for that to happen again unless these franchises go big. Or like The Host, the Stephanie Meyer book.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, hey, the guy who made Gattaca and that kind of shitty but kind of awesome Justin Timberlake movie In Time, he's going to make this movie. And I was like, okay. But it fizzled out, and now I'm sure that's an unfinished story, it sounds like maybe. Like, I don't know. This franchise-minded filmmaking...
It bothers me.
It's a little weird. It's kind of
bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Catching Fire...
like Harry Potter went on for like a decade.
It actually gets my recommendation. I never thought I would say that, because Hunger Games doesn't even get my recommendation. Like, the first movie doesn't.
That's kind of what my friend Ryan had the same thing. Like he didn't like, we talked about it for like an hour after he saw it, where like I was kind of okay with the first Hunger Games movie, and he was like, that was just kind of dumb. And I was like, oh, okay. We like talked that out.
It is kind of dumb. But if you like,
so he was like the last person. Yeah, sorry. He also was way into the second one though. That's kind of what I'm
see. The weird thing here is that I recommend Catching Fire, but upon that recommendation, there's the caveat that you have to watch the first one.
And I've seen it already, so I'm good to
go.
So
for you, that's okay. But if somebody was like, hey, should I watch the Hunger Games? My answer is no, but you should do it to watch the second one.
Okay. The second one is that much of an improvement.
There's enough in there that you should care. That's the thing. There wasn't enough in there that I should care. Like, I can see why people actually like Katniss from the second one now, and I bet she only gets better as it goes. Because in the first one, I mean, sure, she's a strong female, like, it's kind of like heroic archetype or whatever for this story. But in the first one, she's still kind of just like the person sticking up for her sister. And then, like, she's a hunter, so she's good with a bow, and she somehow wins, maybe. And they outsmart the Capitol by, like, ending it kind of weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this one, she's like, the movie starts with the first, like, 40 minutes of her being completely fucked up, because she had to go into this thing where she killed 10 other people. Like, she watched people die all around her. She was living in this, like, reality where the only way to, like, be safe is to just outwardly destroy, like, other people, sort of thing. So in the second movie, she's, like, waking up in cold sweats every night, sort of thing, screaming, and, like, everything about her is very downtrodden, and, like, she's fucked up from this thing, even though she's the winner. Yeah. So she's more of a human already. But then as things go on and, like, the story progresses, she becomes a legitimate badass. And I can't wait to see what she does now. Because, like, before it was kind of like, well, I know she's going to win, whatever. Let's just get this movie over with. Now it's like, okay, she's been beaten down. She's been thrown into this situation again. She's rise up to the occasion. And now it's time for her to destroy this thing, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's actually kind of, like, ingenious how they're pacing this. But I still don't see how they can I don't see how they can justify two movies. That really bothers me.
Is the love triangle angle, like, front and foremost in this at all, or not really? Because, like, that was kind of the thing in the first movie where you're just like,
I gotta get this out of the way. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. And there is enough in here that I don't have to care, which is beautiful. Because, I mean, if we're going to talk about the love triangle, let me say how refreshing it is, first of all, to see the woman juggling two guys as the main love triangle and not just some weird, like, sexual, like, deviant thing where a guy's, like, fucking a girl on the side sort of thing. It's kind of refreshing to see this. Like, there are true emotions and feelings there if you're looking from the character's point of view, where it's like, this is the guy from her previous life. She gets along with very well. They have the same kind of interests or whatever. They're very good together. But, like, I've been through the shit with this guy, and I know, like, we've been through things that no one could ever be. sort of thing.
Right.
So there's a legitimate connection between both of these people. And in a way, it kind of represents, in my head at least, this weird, like, this guy is like her previous life, but this other guy is like the current situation sort of thing. And she's trying, in the scenes or whatever, she's trying to juggle between them a little bit because she's caught in the middle. Like, she is literally just stuck somewhere in the middle and doesn't know where to go with it. And it's kind of refreshing to have somebody that doesn't have the answer sort of thing. They're just kind of like going with the flow at the time. And it's like, if it was just like a love story or whatever, then it's like, sure, there's this guy back at home and some or whatever, but like I have to pretend to like this guy for the public eye sort of thing, blah, blah, blah. But I think there is in the story legitimate feelings for both of them. And that's very human. In a way that movies don't do a lot. When there's like two guys or two girls, it's very just sexualized, like lustful.
Okay.
Usually.
This feels I don't know, more multidimensional or something. Like
it feels more multidimensional. That being said, I couldn't care less about the actual love triangle sort of thing. But it, like, if you do care about it, I feel that it's a little bit more well done.
Okay. Sorry, I'm seeing if it's still playing locally at all. But it is also on video, right? So it might be.
Is.
Well, I might have missed
as of this Tuesday, I think, actually.
It's at the local cheap theater near here, so that might be a warranted night out. Get some. See, the thing about that theater, they got cotton candy, so kind of like
Movie Dome. Remember Movie Dome?
Movie Dome's done. Actually, I do remember Movie Dome.
Dope.
Because I was going through my first 5 years of movie tickets. And a lot of Movie Dome. I will say, best thing about Movie Dome, they printed their tickets with great ink that totally still stands up 15 years later. Whereas the theater in Airdrie, totally shit. I have to squint to even know what was going on. So yeah, it's also like a receipt. So
yeah,
these are dumb problems only weird, obsessive, hoardy movie ticket collectors have. But there you go. That was a thing that happened this week. I guess. Now, you're just kind of reminding me of movies I watched, and I guess we did bring up, hey, analyze this, Therapy, Gangsters. Harold Ramis, who directed that movie, he passed away, and that kind of prompted me to just watch a bunch of stuff that dude was involved with. I watched both Ghostbusters movies. I watched Groundhog Day with the commentary, which I'd never done before. He did a director's commentary on that. Which,
oh, really?
Yeah, which I actually found kind of awesome, and it was just okay, cool. Just kind of he got that story. Someone else had written a draft of that screenplay, and then you kind of hear him talk about the ways he tightened it up and changed some of the flow. We weren't actually going to see before the time loop started in the original draft. It was going to be in the time loop already, and you just kind of figure out that this weird thing has been going on, and you don't know how long Bill Murray's been trapped there or whatever. So I don't know, just kind of weird creative insight into that. And then also just Michael Shannon, his film debut is that movie.
Oh, okay.
And it's so weird. I was just super surreal to hear his name mentioned. And I'm just what? And I'm just oh my God, that dude, it's such a small part, but it is a speaking role. It's young, 19-year-old Michael Shannon freaking out about getting tickets to WrestleMania in Groundhog Day, and I was just this is so weird, because he's got this broody kind of thing going now, he's a villain a lot of the time, or kind of square-jawed agent in Boardwalk Empire. So to see this young, exuberant version of Michael Shannon was super funny. I was way into that. But yeah, I don't know. Groundhog Day is an amazing movie. You've seen it, right?
I have, of course, multiple times.
Yeah. I just the core concept, it's Majora's Mask, the movie, Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, much praise.
Maybe not as important as what's happening in Majora's Mask, where it's the end of the world.
Oh no, it's not the end of the world, but I mean just that kind
it's the end of his
city. To see that kind of idea of the same stuff happens every day, and the how can he see change these variables, and what can he do within this weird kind of Twilight Zone setting, or this weird dilemma. I don't know. I love that movie's idea. It tickles the imagination in this awesome way.
Sure.
And it's also funny. Like, it's just funny, weird stuff. And kind of sad, too. Like, there's, like...
Yeah.
You know, he talks about, like, there being, like, the 5 stages kind of thing, where it's just, like, denial and, you know... What are they? It's, like, anger, depression, like, all that kind of stuff. And, like, yeah, dude... what's the name? Phil? Yeah, Phil, main character. You know, Bill Murray, but yeah, Phil. Just his weird, like, kind of like he's trapped there for years and years, living the same day, and eventually, yeah, he's like killing himself every day, or like just doing crime sprees and all this weird stuff. Like, it's kind of like, what would you do if there were no consequences at all? And I don't know, it's fun to watch play out. And I guess I feel really a lot better about Andie MacDowell being in that movie now, because like Harold Ramis talks about why he cast her and like has all these kind of like specific qualities he really wanted to like have in that role. And it's just like, okay, you know what? That was kind of my one beef, is like Andie MacDowell just can't match up to Bill Murray's performance or whatever, but I'm going to let it slide. It's fine. Like, I don't know. It was, fun to revisit that. And, that
dude. You revisit cool. Bedazzled.
I have not revisited Bedazzled. Is Harold Ramis involved in this?
He's the director.
The Brendan Fraser one?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. I guess I also watched Ice Harvest, which was another later career one he directed.
I never did see that one, but I had a poster of it. Like one of those movie theater posters that was like 6
double-sided.
feet
tall. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the full movie theater quality poster.
What a lame poster to have, right? What a movie you haven't even seen.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, between Analyze This and Analyze That, Bedazzled. I have not seen that, so I can't really speak to it. Neither have I seen his last movie, Year One, which I heard was terrible.
Remember when Elizabeth Hurley was like in a bunch of stuff because she was just so fine? And now it's like she doesn't have a career, basically.
Vaguely. I'm checking. Austin Powers. Serving Sarah.
Austin Powers were the big one.
I remember that
Serving
movie.
Sarah.
I didn't see it, but I remember trailers and stuff for it.
That has to be one of the last ones she did, though, right?
Serving
just
Sarah?
Up.
Yeah, that is like, there are like 3 things after that. I guess she was in Gossip Girl. So there you go.
XOXO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Harold Ramis' career, some cool stuff. Man, Ice Harvest it's like not... It is like just a noir movie, pretty much. Like it is like a neo-noir thing. It's like barely funny. Like it's like not even funny. Like it's just like, oh man, that's like actually just fucked up what just happened. Like that is like Billy Bob Thornton's character just goes crazy. And it's like kind of just like, oh god, like that's just awful what happened. So I don't know. I was not sure what to expect. I was like, oh, you know, like John Cusack, gangster comedy or something. Like, I don't know much about this, but I've been meaning to watch it for a while because I heard it's one of those kind of anti-Christmas movies, you know? Sure. Like it's kind of cynical Christmas. And it is set right around Christmas and all this kind of drunken and like unruly stuff. But it is a pretty straight-laced noir film in a lot of ways. Like, I was kind of just like, oh, I didn't know this was like this. So I ended up kind of... You know, Netflix asked you, hey, what do you think? I ended up with kind of a 3-star on that because it was just kind of like unpleasant in a way. Like it was like kind of just rough going sometimes, which is like, oh man, that's just kind of terrible what happened. But John Cusack, I don't know. I actually kind of like him sometimes, like going on a ride with that dude. 1408, I enjoy primarily.
1408's great.
Yeah, you're just kind of in a creepy hotel room with John Cusack and he kind of makes it work. So it's kind of like one of those, one night of just kind of comic misfortunes happening. So like, you think they got away with all this money, but then things just keep going wrong and like, bad timing and like, you know, all that kind of noir-y type stuff of just, a put upon protagonist who just kind of gets in over his head and weird shit happens. And I don't know, it was, kind of weird to watch, but Randy Quaid shows up at some point as like just this gangster. And he actually kind of is just kind of creepy and insane in a way that's like, I don't know. Randy Quaid didn't know. That guy subsequently has just gone crazy. Actually, he apparently was taking refuge up here in Canada and not wanting to pay taxes and stuff.
I hear about that.
Yeah. So that's kind of a late career performance for him. It looks like now. I don't know. It was kind of weird. But yeah, so kind of mini Harold Ramis marathon. And maybe Bedazzled is next on the list. Do you remember? Is it good? Like, is it funny?
No, it's stupid. Yeah.
But stupid can be good.
It can be, I guess.
There's a kind of stupid I really like. So I guess I'll see if it hits that note or not.
But Harold Ramis is dead.
Harold Ramis is dead. He,
you know who else is dead?
Who else is dead?
Philip Seymour Hoffman. So how are they going to do that character that they introduced in Catching Fire? I was wondering, because he has a big. It seems like he has a huge part to play after watching that film in the series.
I don't know firsthand, obviously, because I haven't seen the movie, but I definitely was reading just kind of in the news after that happened, like the overdose and everything. Like what were their plans for that? And I was figuring
you would know, maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like there was kind of about half a dozen scenes or something. Like there was like 9 days left of shooting for Mockingjay Part 2. So it sounds like the next movie will be fine.
Part 1's fine then.
You won't even see any kind of seams or like weird stuff going on with that. The second one, I think there might be a little like sweating, under the collar, like a little nervous about how they're going to fix this. But there was some quote or something of just like creatively, like dramatically, it'll make sense. Like we're fine. Don't worry about it, kind of thing. So the producers are definitely being like, "Don't worry, it's good. It's all finished pretty much." But it does seem a little weird that, he wasn't finished acting yet. So I don't know. It's
there's a part where he tells Katniss, "I'll see you later" or whatever, and I was just like, "No, you won't, dead motherfucker."
Yeah, but no, he will. But I don't know.
He actually does in that very movie as well.
Oh,
so we'll
okay.
see her again. But yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, it is kind of this weird that thing that when like an actor has died and they're still in a movie like posthumously. It's kind of weird seeing it. Like
or like when Tupac does a concert after he's been dead for like 30 years.
Yeah. Definitely I was in the crowd and it's just like I don't know if to applaud or be really annoyed. Like this is kind of gross but kind of awesome but kind of I don't know. I'm just going to stand here baffled.
Hail Mary, motherfucker.
Yeah. Or like I swear, that definitely had an impact on Heath Ledger, like how his performance was perceived in Dark Knight, right? Like you're just kind of seeing it and it's like extra creepy because he is gone. It's like this was the movie that killed him. This role killed this guy.
He's dead.
Weird. Like it's kind of just this. You put.
You'll never do his magic pencil trick again.
Nope, it's true. Can't ever happen again. So, yeah, I don't know. Seeing the Mockingjay or whatever is definitely going to be a little strange. But I mean, he has 2 movies coming out this year too. Like they were in film festivals and stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be a couple movies like that, but that's definitely a big one.
Yeah.
There was more details on that came out, but they seem kind of redundant. It was like, hey, it was kind of this weird mixture of stuff, and you're just like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't know why I need to know that. But thanks, Autopsy.
Thanks.
Creepy. Yeah. Sad. Yeah. Unfortunate. Talented people leaving.
They
early.
die just like everyone else.
They do, and then kind of leaves this kind of weird vacuum of sorts. Or just like, oh, all right, not going to be another.
We talked about a lot of dead people today.
We have just 2.
Harold Ramis, no,
yeah,
no, Roger Ebert, and
Siskel. Yeah, I guess Siskel and Ebert. Yeah, kind of people that made an impression in some way. We're just like, oh, I watched that a lot, or I actually really enjoyed listening to that dude, and yeah, it's kind of weird. Get to that point. I guess it's kind of this thing where it's just like, is this like just a generational thing that has always happened where it's just like at some point all of the cool people die and then it kind of leaves, who's next? Like who are the next wave? And it's like, I don't know. Like,
right.
Maybe a position's going to open up in a horrible way, right?
Yeah. It's true.
Need people to talk a lot about stuff. Maybe.
Rest in peace, Ryan Davis.
Yeah. I've stopped listening to old Bombcasts. I think I might have said that.
Healthier now?
Yeah.
Because of it? Yeah.
Like I'm not dwelling, but it's also kind of this thing where I guess now I have time to watch a bunch of Sopranos. Because there was time where I was just playing Spelunky or something and having background podcasts, and that was like my days off. Was just playing games that were mindless enough and listening to hours and hours and hours of podcasts. And now I'm kind of having this new problem where it's just like, man, I gotta get on a bus for the next 90 minutes. I have nothing to listen to. So
yeah,
I need new podcasts or something. I'm not sure where to turn. If only someone would talk about anime at length. That'd be great.
That would be great. It doesn't sound like it's going to happen anymore, by the way, but anyways.
What? I know,
that's a shame, right?
Invitation for you to pimp that, but okay.
No, at least I thought that's what they were saying. They'll tell me in the chat if it's true or not that it's not happening anymore. But I want to talk about a few video games I played.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah, I played a couple, but...
I played the remake of Shadow Warrior a little bit.
Oh, Shadow Warrior. Okay, yeah. Came out last year.
It's great. It's really good. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of what's so good about it. You know, did you ever play the first one?
No, I never.
Camera.
Really... Is that like Lo Wang? Was it a bunch of like racist Asian jokes? Is that game?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
yeah. I've heard people talk about it, like Drunken Missile Rocket Launcher. Was that in that?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
like, it was in an era of games where like I heard people talking about it, but I didn't end up actually ever. I don't even know if I've ever seen it. But okay, no, I know about it.
Like one of the main weapons is a sword, right? Mm-hmm. Because Asians or whatever. So
sure, yeah.
they focus more on the like first person sword play sort of thing in this game, and it's very good. It is very good how they do it, and it's weird. There's like different combos you can do with the movement buttons, like the WASD for keyboard sort of thing, and like the clicking and whatnot. You can charge up like different attacks and whatever, and it feels very good. And I think that's the first time I could ever say that like Melee in a first-person game felt good, because Clash was garbage.
Well, but, you didn't like the way it was in Condemned or Riddick? Because those are some other ones people liked, but...
I don't remember Riddick, actually. Now that
okay. It was decent. It was mostly fist fighting, to be fair.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And what was the other one? Condemned?
Condemned. It was like okay. Bludgeoning with pipes and stuff, It's...
Well, that was fine, but there wasn't anything to it other than, like, swing sort of thing. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, there's, like...
It's like swing, block... kind of thing. It's pretty basic.
You charge up different attacks sort of thing with the sword in this, and it's quite good. There's still that like quick-witted sort of like racism going on, but not as bad. But yeah, there's still some of that. The fact that his name is still Lo Wang is ridiculous. But, there's not a whole lot of the sexual innuendos as in the first one anymore either, but overall, I think it's a pretty solid game, and I'm pretty intrigued at what those guys will do next, sort of thing.
Is it kind of like Serious Sam arena shooter kind of thing? Like just there are tons of guys just shooting?
No.
Okay. It's a little
more like a Doom 3 or something. Like
okay.
It's an actual like there's a storyline you're trying to get through sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been playing a little bit of that. And I was actually emailed, I think 2 days ago now, or whatever it was. And this German company called Me Productions is like, hey, we've been working on this game. Do you want to check it out? And I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, they included a Steam code in the original email, so I didn't have to respond back and say, yeah, hook me up or anything. Right, so I just kind of installed it. It's fantastic. It's a platforming game called The Last Tinker, City of Colors.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like... Did you ever watch Pee-wee's Playhouse?
No. I may have missed out. But
there was claymation bits in that show or whatever. Mm-hmm. This looks like an HD version of that. Like, it looks really, really good. But more importantly, it plays very well. Like, the camera and movement feels very much like very fluid, like a Gears of War sort of thing, where there's no hiccups or anything like that. The movement itself, like traversing different like obstacles or whatever, feels very Assassin's Creed, which is a great thing. Mm-hmm. And the combat feels a little bit like the Arkham game sort of thing, like going back and forth. I will say the combat is a little bit shaky, but it's a platforming game and it doesn't focus on combat, so that's probably okay. But
what's it called again?
It's called The Last Tinker, City of Colors.
The Last Tinker, okay.
By Me Productions.
Is it out already? Like, I'm searching Steam right now.
Out. No.
Oh, okay. This is a preview code.
Yeah, preview. So,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that on a stream. I got permission from them to like show it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very good. I really look forward to seeing the end product. I think they're done the game. I wasn't sure, like, when I was streaming it. I was saying, if this is alpha, this is ridiculous, so it can't be. And it isn't. I'm pretty sure the game's done, and they have, like, full review copies out, so I requested one. And we'll see if I actually get it, so I could play more of it. But it is the type of game that you would, like, give to a kid or play yourself. Like, it either is totally possible, where, like, a kid could play it, feel good about it, or you could play it and just have fun with it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of nice. It's a nice change to have, like, a third-person platforming game that was, like, not dealing with blood and guts or shooting or, like, beating the shit out of people, but more dealing with, like...
it's a 3D platformer.
It's a 3D platformer.
I guess I just assumed 2D side-scrolling kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, the most important thing is it's nice to see an indie game saying, like, hey, can we get a preview of this, or do you want to preview this? And it's not some shitty pixel art piece of garbage like they usually are.
Yeah, okay. They actually kind of went for something less explored.
And there's a very, like, Viva Pinata feel in some of the characters, where they're just kind of like, one of the things, the races or whatever, there's, like, a bunny turtle. And it's, like, all small and adorable. It's like a turtle, but, like, with a bunny, like, being a bunny body with a turtle shell. And just shit like that. Like, it's just very adorable in every way. The intro starts off very much like a Little Big Planet, with, like, the announcer with, like, the soothing voice telling you what's going on in the world, sort of thing. And I don't know. It's very, very cool. I quite enjoy it a lot, so I can't wait to see more of that.
Okay, but I'm just looking at some footage of it. I don't know what to immediately, like, a little Jack and Daxter, maybe the first one, kind of.
Maybe there's no, like, side buddy character though.
Oh yeah, no, I just mean kind of the platform, and, like, you're kind of a dude, like you're
a kid.
Yeah. You got
kind of look like a monkey or something.
Yeah, you just look like a kind of a guy. Yeah, okay.
And everything else is, like, weird lizards and stuff, yeah.
Oh, and so there's some, like, Arkham-ish fist-fighting combat?
There is, but it's kind of wonky. It doesn't feel very good. Like, it's passable for the parts I'm sure that you're going to need to do it. And, like, you can get used to it, and it feels fine for that. But if it was, like, a brawler, it would probably be garbage.
Okay. But the thing that this has is the platforming and the colorful kind of palette.
Right. The combat part is probably the worst part about it, and that's pretty good, thinking that it's not a combat-intensive genre.
Okay.
It's kind of a thing that happens in it every now and then or whatever.
Cool.
But, yeah, I was enjoying quite a bit of that. I bought Final Fantasy XIV because it was on sale, and that's where the MMO bug hit me a little bit again. Mm-hmm. So I started playing that, got to level 6 with my character, and then I was talking to our friend Lauren, Atheistium or whatever, and she was on a different EU server, so I re-rolled onto her server and then played again, and now I'm level 10 on that new character. So a couple hours put into that game. That game is sexist in a weird way that I never thought would be possible. For example, World of Warcraft. Yeah. If you're a male or a female character, do you know what an orc grunt is called? It's called an orc grunt. It's not called cute guy. I've played a female character, and this mysterious guy or whatever, when you mouse over him, his name, quote unquote, was cute guy. And I thought that was really weird that they would do that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. So if you're playing from a female character, they kind of genderify it a little bit?
I would think so, because I would think it would be weird if, like, you're playing as a guy and you scrolled over somebody and it would say cute guy.
Right.
I mean, whereas, like I said, if you're, like, scrolling, or, like, you mouse over, even if you're male or female in, like, World of Warcraft, you mouse over, like, a Stormwind Guard. Their name is Stormwind Guard.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very generic. It's not like cute dude.
It's neutral, whereas this is, like, objectifying people you see for some reason for you. That's
kind
of weird.
I found that gross. I found that extraordinarily gross. Also, the starting outfit you have, and I'm gonna be fair. I chose a female, and the first option I boosted all the way up was her bust size. But now, the first thing you get in that game, like your base clothing, is like a corset with like a short skirt. Okay. There is like a model for panties underneath. And the reason I know this, and before you ask, because I was talking about this on stream when I was streaming a bit of it. Remember Lolly Pop Chainsaw, how there's that pervert achievement if you try to look up her skirt?
I don't, but okay.
Okay.
Like, I believe it, I guess, but sure. Yeah. Okay.
I was playing this game, and there was a point where, like, I was up against a tree fighting a monster or whatever, because a kid was, like, fighting a monster actually with cute guy, quote unquote.
Okay.
Because, like, trying to save a kid or something like that. And the camera swung in a weird way and looked up her skirt, and there is more modeled there of the female anatomy that needs to be, maybe. It's not like a camel toe or anything.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, what could be down there other than...
Not like outlines or anything like that, but there's, like, a weird, like, panty line and that sort of thing. And I found that weird because, like, I get it because short skirts or whatever, and this is, like, your starting outfit.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Like, why can't she be wearing a weird, like, pants, like just pants or something, you know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
Especially if, in theory, I mean, this is going to sound sexist, but I think females are into the Final Fantasy genre maybe more than men. Like, just as a statistic, like, if you took 100 guys on 100 women, I bet there would be a higher number of the women saying, I like those games, sort of thing, than the guys.
Maybe.
Or at least,
I don't know, yeah. Okay.
At least, like, the art style or whatever like that. It's very... very feminine art style in this game specifically, not all of them, but in general, I mean, Japanese character design and stuff like Sephiroth is kind of feminine, and all of them are kind of feminine for the most part.
Yeah.
But,
well, maybe, like, you know, they're assuming ladies want to be sexy, tough ladies, like a Bayonetta or something. I don't know.
And that, see, it's kind of weird, though, because with Bayonetta, I mean, sure, she had the cat suit and, like, made out of her hair. If you, like, play that game, you know what I'm talking about, because she's just been covered up with, like, her witch hair, basically.
Yeah.
Like, there was something less sexual about her in that cat suit, and even with her being over-sexualized and knowing it, like, posing, than the fact that, like, if you peek up this character's skirt, you see, like, her panties. There's just something weird.
There's something more
fetishistic about it.
Yeah, it's a little more kind of like stealing a glance as opposed to like, no, she's like confident. She's like, she's putting that out there. You're not being gross.
Right.
Okay. I guess, you're saying like this is kind of weird because that's the default? Because I'm like, well, in Skyrim, you could design a female character and then not wear clothes. And then you're like, well, yeah, you know.
That's the default.
But you're saying like default outfits are like making Bloom happen.
And for like
trying to go for that.
And like my character is a female gladiator. So like
that's a pretty impractical outfit.
I would have thought her thing would have been like she has like the high like hooker boots. The like come fuck me boots sort of thing, and like the short skirt and the corset. Like she just looks like a tramp from the like 20th century sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because you can like when you're making the character or whatever, you can click on like casual or job or whatever. So I clicked on job to see what she would look like, and she's in this badass suit of armor, and she just looks fucking amazing. Like she could take on like any fucking monster in the world, right? Then like casual is just like, look at my pussy. Just look at it. Like it's so fucking. There's such a weird. And this is something with MMOs in general, where it's like at the end game, every character looks great because that's where they spend the time. Like you want this loot. So that's where they're going to spend the time making it look great on the different character models. The beginning of the game sort of thing is very basic, like underwear sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's just such a weird disconnect there where the endgame armor makes her look like a complete badass, but in the opposite direction, the beginning of the game, she looks like a fucking prostitute in a lot of ways. Like a high-class prostitute. I'm not going to be talking shit about my Final Fantasy character. She's a badass because I play her. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a weird thing too, where it's just like, never mind. Anyways, I don't know. It's weird. It's an MMO though, so there's a lot of kill this thing and kill this thing. There's a lot of cool stuff in it too though. The first couple levels was boring as fuck because it was going through a city talking to people. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is exactly what I thought an MMO would be based on Final Fantasy. It's just going around talking to people and getting experience for it. But then when you start fighting and stuff, there's a hunting log, kind of like what there was in Final Fantasy XII, where you could like hunt different monsters or whatever. Do you remember?
I didn't play 12 actually, but
okay. But like, there's a little bit more of a reason. You get experience and stuff like that, and you like level up different things in using the hunting log or whatever. So there's a little bit more reason to maybe grind out that extra 3 like antling workers or whatever you're fighting and just shit like that. Mm-hmm. But there's still a lot in there that's really good. There's this fate system, which is kind of like not instance, really. It's in the world. It's kind of like random encounters. Go figure, right? For a Final Fantasy game. Right. There's like random encounters, but when you stay in that area and do it sort of thing, you'll get attacked by like hordes of monsters or something. Anybody in that area that's helping out will get just a bunch of experience or whatever. And it's kind of cool because you'll be walking around the world and then you'll see like a bunch of monsters attacking this person. And then you'll see like 4 other people come out of the woodwork because they want that experience. And there's just like this group of 5 random people that were just traveling on the same road together, all of a sudden like going for this greater cause of killing all this shit that's attacking. That's cool. But I mean, it's one of these things. If you're not into MMOs, it's an MMO. So it's not going to change your mind. It's not going to sway you.
This doesn't tinker with the formula much. It's pretty straightforward fantasy.
It's pretty straightforward. In fact, it's not even done as well as MMOs that are out already. In many ways, the loot lust isn't as good. In the fact that I haven't encountered a lot of loot. I've had to buy a new sword. I haven't just picked up a random one, for example.
What's the motivation then? Like, that's a little weird,
right?
Is there a storyline that's pretty fleshed out, or
there is a storyline, but I've just been clicking through it because I don't care about Final Fantasy storylines.
Okay, fair enough.
There's no voice acting. That's a weird thing. There is cutscenes for some of the quest givers, but they don't voice act. You have to read it. Weird, right?
Yeah, it's kind of going back before, like, that's a decade and change.
Before Star Wars.
Yeah. Or you're saying Old Republic had a lot of voice acting?
Yeah, it did, if I remember correctly. But like, what I'm talking about is there's 2 different ways you could do that. Where Knights of the Old Republic, I'm pretty sure from what I've heard, I haven't played it, is that like you'll do a quest or whatever, there's voice acting, there's options or whatever. So it's like almost like a Skyrim sort of thing or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do the World of Warcraft model, which is just like a block of text and you click accept. This is, you have to scroll through the text still. There's no voice acting, and then you can do it. So it's in that middle ground that sucks ass. There's not a fast way to get through the text, and there's not an easy way to take in the story if you want it.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it's pretty
clunky stories. That's kind of I don't even know if it's really worth whatever. Like, I guess it's actually kind of a topic that I've been thinking about in terms of like the tweet I posted earlier. Anyway, Rock of Ages. I played like 20 minutes of that yesterday. That's a game where like I like the core mechanic quite a bit. You're just kind of rolling around and crushing stuff as a boulder.
Really? Because I thought it was boring. Because like you said, that is what you do.
Well, it's like I wouldn't mind a game that like takes that and that's what it's about, is crushing stuff and just rolling around. Whereas they kind of try to add a lot of stuff to it with like the strategy and like waiting for the turn to end and setting up defenses and reading story and seeing funny cartoon stuff that, like, I don't know. I kind of wish it was focused on a fundamental thing and did that one thing better than sprinkling more on it. But I guess and there's also kind of like weird pop culture. Like there's a 300 joke and a Fellowship of the Ring joke, and I don't know why. Like it was just kind of like, yeah, it was Gandalf. Like, okay.
Okay.
sure. And it's like there's a Leonidas in it, and he says this is Sparta and kicks you. Like that happens. And it was just like, I don't know.
Is that supposed to be hilarious?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I think it's from Brazil or something in this game, South America. Maybe it's like, oh, it's funny. It's kind of crazy. Like,
because they just got those movies.
They just got those movies like this year. Right. So whenever this came out, this is an older game anyway. But I guess the reason I bring this up, I guess, is in relation to the Raptor thing of like, I am kind of glad I'm on Raptor because it's just kind of a neat way to get a snapshot of like how many people are playing a game. You know,
well, that use Raptor.
So it's like a small sample group, but it's still kind of like, wow. Like if I played 20 minutes of this game and I have played this game more than most of the people who own it, that's kind of weird. But then you pointed out like it was in a Humble Bundle at some point or something, right?
Right, because like how many, like if you buy a Humble Bundle, you're not going to play like over maybe 15 minutes of a game you got for ostensibly free.
Yeah.
If you didn't like it.
Sure. So I don't know. Like it's like kind of prompted me to revisit this topic in my mind of like, you know, like Jason Rohrer, popular topic on the show.
Yeah. Frequent guest topic.
Frequent just guest topic. He just shows up sometimes, somehow gets in my head, and I just have to talk about him. Whatever. His main thing about the Castle Doctrine never being on sale is kind of ensuring that the people that play it actually wanted it. And on one level, it's just like, well, why does that matter? Like, who cares? Like, just sell it to more people. Like, what does that matter?
It might not be on sale ever, but I bet it'll be in a bundle eventually.
I don't know. Like, we'll see. Like, that is yet to happen. So this is just kind of based on this premise of this game that will never play a role in that kind of, like, will never be a bargain game or never do that thing to kind of get to more people. But it's like, what is better? Like, is it better to have your game available, like, 10,000 people own it, but like 1,000 people play it? Is that a problem? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of, I'm not sure if that's even worth really digging too much into, but it's just kind of like, I own a lot of games that I don't play, but they're digitally owned games, so I don't really even feel bad about it because they're not even taking up shelf space. Like, they're just kind of licensed to me. It's like I have a lot of music I don't listen to all the time. I have a lot of books I don't read, like, or have read already and don't really intend to read again. Like, it's not new, so I don't really know why getting annoyed with that is really such a thing, but I don't know. But yeah, like, I guess Raptor's just a way, like, that's the thing I always see is just like, oh, weird, like, I have barely played this and I am playing it more than most people, or you just get a sense of like, wow, no one owns this game, or way more people own Torchlight 2 than I thought. Like, it's crazy. The game's popular.
I'm going to tell you what I don't like about how Raptor does some of that stuff, though. Like, it does it, I think it does it the right way by, like, counting achievements and time played sort of thing, like, kind of looking at both of the things. Yeah. I also don't like that it also just counts time in the game, so I could just leave Torchlight 2 on for, like, a year, and I will be, like, expert level sort of thing, elite level.
Well, but I guess you're also not really gaining anything by being an elite level player. But yeah, like, I left
it skews it, though. Yeah.
I left Luminous on all day because, like, I paused it and was kind of like, okay, well, I want to finish this round. I was doing really well, but I have to go to work. So I paused it, shrunk it, went, and then returned home, resumed, finished the game, and then turned it off. And it says 12 hours played. So now I'm like an expert. Like, I played that version of Luminous. And it is kind of weird. Like that, I kind of wish they were more somehow tracking that a little better. Because, like,
there's no way they can.
Honestly. Is a stat of interest. But yeah. Anyway, I don't even know what I'm getting into. Rock of Ages, I wish it was better. And it's the same as the Xenoblade.
I think most people do.
It's the same people. Better. It's the same dudes. So, yeah, maybe,
I know people that love Xenoclash, though. They say it's so good in a weird way, and I can't see it because it's like, it's weird, I'll give you that, but at the core of it is a shitty first-person punching game, and it's garbage.
Well, it's very corridor kind of thing. Like, that was my sensation with the first one, was just like, it is just go from waypoint to waypoint, essentially. It's very linear structure, not really that fun to actually walk through. And it's like, oh, the world looks so weird. It's like, it kind of looks like the Flintstones. Like, that's not...
Linearity's never been a problem with me, if we're going to be completely honest. It just...
If it's like that kind of scripted, trigger-based first person, I find that kind of boring. Of just like, walk down the hall, and then when you get to this point, the crazy thing happens. It's just like, it's not crazy then. Like, it's just, I don't know. That doesn't get
There's still some enjoyment in there. Like Fear. I had fun with Fear. But maybe that's because the gimmick of it was not so much the story as it was like doing weird bullet time and punching.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of going through these slow parts to get to more action because I like the combat mechanics or something.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
That's not bad. But yeah, I mean, Condemned, which I brought up in a favorable way earlier, does that too. Like, it is very corridor, like very find the next place. And I honestly had trouble kind of playing through that game again. Condemned 2 Bloodshot, like I tried jumping into that again. And it's like, man, I know there's cool stuff in this game, but there's some like dumb stuff in this game that I forgot was kind of the problem. So, yeah. I guess for me this week, I've been playing a lot more Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. I'm almost done.
Okay, cool.
And I'm on the last thread. Like, they have like the flow chart with all the endings and stuff. Like, I have one left, and I have basically done all the things necessary to get to the ending. I just need to kind of finish one last puzzle area or whatever. And I guess the kind of concluding stuff on that game so far has just been like, they come up with some really cool like sci-fi stuff to just kind of get into. Like, there's some cool like Philip K. Dick Blade Runner type stuff in there, and just like, it's like a decent piece of sci-fi writing in this weird form of like this choose your own adventure thing. So I found it kind of engaging just as like this weird interactive book kind of thing. But a lot of the puzzle stuff has gotten to the point where I'm just like, this is so like just detached from the rest of the stuff going on. Like, me solving this puzzle isn't like feeling like I'm discovering stuff in this world. Like, if I open this drawer, there's going to be some cool little story tidbit or something. It's just going to be a puzzle piece, and I have to finish the puzzle for the story to resume and keep going. And I've just resorted to looking at a game guide for most of that stuff. Like, it's just like, if I get stuck at all, I'm just like, fuck it, and I'll just pop out the phone and get over it. So they need to, if they end up making subsequent entries in that series, I hope they can kind of mold the story and the puzzle gameplay together a little better. Because right now it just feels like two separate things, and one of them is kind of really cool and engaging, and the other one is just kind of tedious. So I don't know. And like, even in 999, I felt it was like a little better because they had just a better sense of atmosphere. Like, the first one, it's like you are in a ship, and it's like you're in this creepy ship, and something about that was like, oh man, like that's kind of a neat thing. Like, I was able to kind of get into that. Whereas this is, you're just kind of in this warehouse. Like, you're just kind of in this like weird, like, there's a lot of different rooms and stuff, but it all just seems kind of arbitrarily assembled. Like, it's just this research facility or something, but it's very generic in terms of its aesthetic or whatever. And I don't know, like, being on what was actually a replica of the Titanic essentially in the first one was so much weirder that I was kind of just digging that. And this one didn't have that. So I don't know. But yeah, dude, like Blade Runner type stuff, dude. It's kind of awesome. Cool. And like, that's just kind of cool, just kind of ideas about AI, like Turing tests and the Chinese room kind of thing. They lay that out. Schrodinger's cat, they kind of lay out as like just a thought exercise for you to kind of, make sense of some of the story beats they have. And it's just kind of like, all right, this is kind of a weirdly thoughtful thing. Oh man. There was this like really great kind of just passage in the game about like observational little piece about termites. Okay. And like them building these elaborate structures, but them not really knowing that they're contributing to this larger whole, but like humans can appreciate that. You can see this like elaborate structure these termites have built, but then kind of like extending that to be like, and humans, like, we're actually in the same boat. We're like all working towards some larger thing, but we're just parts of the puzzle. Like, we're smaller cogs in this larger machine or whatever. It was like, all right, like I don't know, like there's these weird little philosophical musings in the game that are just kind of interesting on their own.
Cool.
And there's occasionally a good sense of weird mystery. And once the big plot revelations start coming up, they're actually kind of cool. There was a lot of tedium in the early part of that game, but it's starting to pay off now. But it's kind of crazy how much of my evenings this game is consumed. Like it's like 30 plus hours of playtime now. And that's in like 30-minute hour chunks every night for like the last couple weeks. Like it's just been kind of this constant resume thing. So I don't know.
What are you going to do when it's over now? You're not going to have that thing, that almost like security blanket of knowing what you're going to do at night.
No. Like I have a growing pile of stuff I've been wanting to do. Like I want to finish Device 6 on the iPhone, and I want to play The Room 2. And I've kind of been putting those off as mobile games because I'm playing a mobile game right now, essentially, on the Vita.
Right, yeah.
I also want to finish Roger Ebert's book, which I just kind of put on hold in favor of this. Like, it's just
Is it any good?
So far, it's pretty good. It's just kind of his memoirs. It's called Life Itself. That's the name of it. And it's they're making I guess I meant to bring it up earlier. They're making a documentary about him and his life and stuff, and that book was kind of the launching point for that. But they didn't know when they started filming it that it was going to be like his last year alive. Like it was kind of him going through treatments and stuff. It was going to be kind of about him blogging and kind of getting away into the internet and whatever. And then that kind of took a sadder tone. So I've heard it's really, really sad. But it's at festivals and stuff right now. It's the guy who made Hoop Dreams, which I thought was like, Roger Ebert was like one of the biggest champions of Hoop Dreams, so I bet that's why. Like it was like this guy kind of returning the favor or something, but apparently not. It was just kind of worked out. Like he wanted to make a documentary. And I don't know. I don't know the whole story, but there were some interviews coming out of Sundance about that. But yeah, so I've meant to do that, and then the one thing I was like thinking about doing was like, oh man, portable games. Like I just bought Persona 3 on this thing. That'll be my thing. But like considering like a 30-hour game took me like weeks to finish that way. Persona 3.
What about like a 200-hour game?
Yeah, like 3-4 months of just like, I'm playing Persona. Like that's all I'm doing. I'm just playing.
Why not
Persona.
though?
I know, like I intend to at some point, but I think what I'm going to do is finish those 2 mobile games I've talked about because like they're supposed to be kind of short, and then read that book and then jump into something big again. You know, like space it out a little bit with some smaller stuff, and then get in on that because I like Persona 4 a lot, and I heard 3 was good. So, but yeah, people love the Persona. Persona 5's coming out eventually, so I got to get ready by playing an older one. That doesn't really make sense. Oh, dude, I also bought Persona 4 Arena on PlayStation because it was on sale. Like they had a crazy good sale. I also got Ni no Kuni. So if I want to get way into the Japanese business, I have a bunch of it now.
It's weird you bring that up because I am one click away from accepting this South Park The Stick of Truth purchase because I kind of want to get into an RPG of some sort, and I think that might be one with a low enough entry to it with like enough content I know will be solid because I do like the South Park show.
Yeah.
That I might be able to get behind.
I haven't really, are people saying it's good? Like, it's out now, right?
No, 2 days from now.
Oh, you're pre-ordering it.
I'm thinking about it, and the only thing holding me back right now is $60.
Yeah, that is kind of a tall
only thing
for, any video game.
But if it is like a JRPG sort of thing, right? It could easily be maybe like 100 hours, right? In theory. In
theory, that is not unheard of for the genre, but I would bet like 30 or something.
That is still like 50 cents an hour I'm paying for enjoyment, which is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's pretty high is because I play quite a few free-to-play games these days. Like your Hearthstones or Dota or like Loadout and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm getting all this time here is basically free time. Like the only thing they're taking from me is my free time sort of thing, right? They're not taking my money. So how can I justify paying full price anymore when there's plenty of things out there I'm having fun with already, tried and true, that I can do for free.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of... and then, like, this is such a dumb thing I'm going to say right now, but there's also this mentality of, like, it would be fun to stream it, maybe, and show it to other people. See if they might be interested in it, and if they're not, they could just watch me play it. So that is a little bit of a factor in a way.
You're saying, like, you take the hit and then help other people see if they want to jump in.
Well, not so much that, but like in a way, just kind of like hanging out with other people while playing it will just make it fun, because then I can chat to other people while I play this game. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a dumb way to look at it. But then it's kind of like, if I'm going to buy it anyways, why wouldn't I stream it? But, yeah.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I like Obsidian. You know, I've liked South Park in the past, but I'm just not, like, there's so much I could be doing. It's not like I'm jonesing for a new game anymore. Like, that's kind of just this thing that I don't get anymore. Like, where I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for that to come out. There were times where I was like, I had several pre-orders outstanding, you know, like I was like waiting for a slate of games to come out, and like couldn't wait, you know, I was super psyched, and like I don't know, that is once in a blue moon now. It's like, oh, GTA 5, hell yeah, and it's not even a pre-order, it's just like I will make a trip to like a store that day,
or I will like log in at midnight, buy it,
click buy,
downloading. Yeah,
like it's like every now and then a $60 game makes sense to me, but like it just has to be a like right place, right time kind of thing, where I'm like, I'm ready to jump in on a new game. A new game is coming out that is of note. Okay, let's do it. And it's like, it happened like 3 times last year, I think. Like BioShock, Last of Us, and GTA. We're just like, I want to do this right now. Done.
All of which were very hard to find in store, by the way. So like, if you didn't pre-order, you were screwed for the first 2 weeks or so.
Well, my Last of Us quest was kind of 10 days later, and it was also like, we got the last one at London Drugs.
That's the same with me.
A weird
Not
place
London
to
Drugs,
check.
though. Super Drug Mart for me.
Exactly. Like, you know, you go to some like kind of off the beaten path store and hope you get one. Like, it was kind of this weird...
Like, pro tip, if you want a game that came out and it's hard to get a hold of, or like game consoles even, go to your drugstore. Don't go to like your Future Shops or Best Buys or whatever you have, or like your even actually Toys R Us was huge for that too. Like I would go to the Toys R Us because people that go to Toys R Us don't go for video games generally.
They've kind of stepped up their video game business.
Now they have.
So they might be you know, that place might be.
Every time I'm in a Toys R Us though, I almost always walk out with a Skylander.
Oh yeah.
Dangerous. So it's pretty dangerous.
How is that? Is that still
Skylanders?
Like, did you play Giants? Like, is it still?
No, I'm still vanilla. Still vanilla.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do Skylanders. I haven't, or Giants. I haven't done Swap Force. I haven't done any of that sort of thing. Like the different light ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just kind of like got to catch them all sort of thing. It would be the same. Like for people that are into Pokemon, that would be a dangerous model if you could just put them on the portal to like summon them.
Yeah, that seems like maybe that's Nintendo's get out of jail card or something. Like it's just like, we are dying. Okay, Pokemon toys / game, make it good, make like, you know, engage, and then it's just like, all right, they're now flush with money.
All they have to do is hook it up to Twitch. Obviously,
apparently,
get 1,000, like hundreds of thousands of people.
121,000 at its peak, I guess, was kind of the summary thing. Right. The summary story I saw. But okay, yeah, Twitch Plays Pokemon Red finished up today, like within the last 24 hours. I thought it was 3 a.m.
Oh, okay. I guess if you want to look at it that way, sure.
Yeah,
like last night.
Sure, yeah. Last night. I was not there. I woke up kind of going, oh, I missed it. You were apparently logged in and watching.
I was watching. I wasn't participating, though.
Okay, what happened, though? Like, what was going on?
Oh, man, the Elite Four. So many battles. Like, it's fucking ridiculous how much of a hard time they had. And I got to say one thing, first of all. We did, like, the predictions thing. And I said 20 days.
Yeah.
I was pretty close. It was 16 or something like that.
Yeah, so, 16 days, 7 hours, 45 minutes, and 30 seconds.
I will say one thing in response to that, even though, is that it's bullshit because there was divine intervention for that game for like Twitch Plays Pokemon to the point where it would have been easily over 100 hours if left to their own devices. There would be times
there would be.
I actually saw, like, I was part of the stream when this happened. Like, they whited out or whatever, and then the admin went offline with the channel, like, Twitch Plays Pokemon will be right back.
Mm-hmm.
And he went along the, like, hard road to go through or whatever to heal up and then back. And then that's when he let go of control again.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Scandalous,
I don't like that.
Right?
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. But this guy's still a secret, right? He's still stayed under wraps. We don't know who the mastermind is behind Twitch Plays Pokemon, so we can't yell at a specific person. But that's kind of weird. I didn't know they I heard he kind of like tweaked the formulas or tweaked it a little bit so it's like harder to fail, or like the democracy anarchy thing to kind of allow Twitch to the community to do a little more precise stuff if need be, but to hear they just kind of wrestle control. I guess I was getting a lot of emails that was saying, because I followed the channel, it was like Twitch is back online, or Twitch is online, Twitch Plays Pokemon is back online. I was like, what? Like, I thought they always were. So what's going on?
They weren't. No,
but I thought this
they
was
would go offline, and
unceasing
the admin
stream.
the admin would take control and God mode it and get it to a point where they could progress. So, in that regard, Twitch Plays Pokemon is a huge failure.
Failed experiment, totally
kind of
cheated. That's unfortunate. But hey, what was it like, though, being part of that collective as the final blow was landed?
As everybody was... I've been in the chats or whatever for the esports events and stuff, like watching the Dota finals or the League of Legends finals even, and like even StarCraft when that was still really popular.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that, because I enjoy watching those. And it was not as intensive as some of those where people were like cheering for a specific team, or like everybody there had the same goal. Mm-hmm. And it was to get to the end of a game. It's more intense when one team or something, when you're watching something, is like they're the ones that like are dominating, and then the other team does a comeback or something. There is a feeling there, like a powerful feeling, and even in the chat room, where you're almost like in a stadium and you're hearing like people freak the fuck out, only you're seeing it in text. It wasn't even that intense. Because I think it detracts when everybody's goal is the same sort of thing, because then it's almost like a relief. Like, it's excitable, but it's a relief almost, whereas it's not like a victory in a way.
Sure. So there's not the same energy in the air, because it's like...
Not the same energy as like an esports sort of thing, no. And for better or for worse, that's whatever.
Actually, now I'm thinking like sports analogies. It almost sounds more like a golf match as opposed to a tennis match or something. Or as opposed to like a, two teams sparring, but with golf, it's like, yeah, that was a pretty good shot. Like, it's a little more mild-mannered, maybe.
Well...
No? Is that not fair?
It was still very excitable. Like, there was still an air to it, but the thing that detracted from me is that these people that were, like, freaking out and being like, oh my god, blah, 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 this is history, whatever, these are the same people that are just like, stop saying anarchy, you fucking faggots, and just, like, some pretty deplorable shit to other people they've never met and will never meet. So it kind of detracts from the overall feeling of community when everybody's excited, but, like, yeah, you just a minute ago were saying that I hope you all fucking die because they didn't get what they wanted.
Was it really, like, that awful? Because, like, I mean, whenever I would tune in, it would be kind of just, like, constant, super fast stream of up, left, start, whatever, like, that kind of stuff. You don't even really get a chance to register the people saying anything else.
No, you would still see those, for sure.
Okay. I guess I would usually have it full screen and then occasionally pop out to the chat to say up and then resume full screen. So I was only seeing the in-game
The in-game stuff only took the keywords.
Exactly.
Didn't
so
take
like
the text.
I kind of maybe censored my experience a bit, but I didn't have the kind of shrill freakouts registering very often. It was just kind of this wacky thing that became kind of this reliable, dependable thing. And I guess I will say I'm looking at a screen right now that says Pokemon Blue starts in 5.5 hours. So it's going to happen again. There's like 18,000 people sitting here doing nothing, essentially waiting for the next thing to start. So
when they could be listening to us over here.
I know. Little missed opportunity. You know, we're talking about the thing you're interested in and breaking down some stats.
Let's be real for a second here, okay?
Yeah, okay.
How would it change the dynamic of what we do here if all of a sudden you saw it jumped from like 6 people to 15,000? Like, would you be a little bit more nervous?
I'd probably check the chat way less because there'd be way more craziness going on in there.
I'm pretty sure I would turn the chat off.
Yeah, as opposed to just kind of like, oh, our regular crowd are talking about some stuff. Oh, hey, how about that? You know, like it's like, oh, now it's just crazy in there. Like there's a lot of people here who might be just don't know what we're about. Might kind of be like, why are they talking so long about this? It's like, that's just what we do. Like, I
think in order of things happening, I would be, this is awesome. I need to find more people to become moderators. And I better close this chat.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That would be kind of...
Would it change how we talk about stuff? I would like to think it wouldn't, but
yeah. You're kind of just waiting for humans to get around to where listening to 2 people talk for 3 hours is what people want. You know? Like, it's like, that's now in vogue. And that's cool.
I think my thing is, I don't mind the idea of somebody downloading maybe our first episode, like 15,000 people eventually hearing us at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I would react to the idea of having like that many people at one single time.
Just somehow, like for some reason, a bunch of people discover us at the same time. Because I think that might change what we do.
I think it would be scary, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just like, now there's a bunch of people yelling at us that I don't, these are not even the people I was like working towards pleasing in the first place, but now they're making
when
demands.
It's a slow increase like that, I think it's probably okay.
Sure.
Like if all of a sudden, like we went from 6 to 50 and then next time we have like 100 or 200 or something, right? Like when it's a little more gradual, fine. Mm-hmm. But if we had like 15,000 people, like just think, I don't think I've met 15,000 people in my life, like in person.
Yeah.
So having that many people just
show up
one day, just show up, and then when you get to that point as well, you're at the top of Twitch, so people will continuously keep coming in. So it just continuously goes up. So I honestly don't know how I would react. I don't know if I could do it. I would probably just be like, we're going to call this now.
Yeah, changing the name of the show. We're trying to go underground again.
That's right. The Krasner G show.
Krasner G cult show. Yeah.
Movie monks.
Movie monks.
Go all the way back.
Movie monks are back.
Oh,
and
man.
Better than ever.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah,
I don't know. Twitch. That was a crazy thing. I'm glad it happened, I guess. That was a neat thing to see. Like, just kind of the weird in-jokes develop organically. Like the Helix junk and
there was a drawing I retweeted on Twitter that I found some weirdly endearing for something I didn't really care about, which was Twitch Plays Pokemon, just to be clear for anybody who just joined, because it seemed like 2 people just did. So they might not know that we're talking about that. But it was like a picture of like Blue talking to Red and saying like, who would have thought like you'd be the champion or whatever? How does it feel? And then like just 2 or 3 like scenes of Red, like his face off to the side sort of thing, like a side profile. And behind him are all these like words that are saying like A, B, up, left, up, right, like all this stuff, like filling the full thing. And they're slowly fading out between the panels. And then the very last one is just like quiet. I was just like, that's weirdly, like, that's pretty good. That's some emotional shit right there. It's just like, how does it feel? Quiet. because it's done.
Like all the voices in my head are gone.
In my head are gone.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's
pretty
weird.
good. It's actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think I like the stuff behind like what Twitch Plays Pokemon did, like with the community and social aspects, more than the idea of having 100,000 people saying up, left, and fuck you, faggot in the chat at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know what this means for Twitch, I guess. Like, the Polygon story I was looking at said they're looking at this as like some sort of game, like some sort of, groundwork for something they might be planning, or I don't know what that would mean. Like maybe betting on streams or talking towards.
Well, what they should do is just make better chat servers, because every time something like this happens on Twitch, everything goes fucking down.
Yeah.
So,
and the 40-second delay, like what? Why? It's kind of a bit much. But yeah. 2 weeks ago,
Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Yeah, Twitch stated it is considering using the experiment as the basis of a new gaming platform on the streaming service. So I don't know what that means, but yeah, weird. I don't know. We've talked about a bunch of random TV shows, movies, a couple video games.
That's what we do here.
Is there something else we want, or should we just move on to the question phase of the show?
We should go on to voicemails, because I have a couple of them.
Okay.
And the first one is from Batman. How do you feel about that?
Whoa. Weird.
Yeah.
I've been watching that dude's exploits for years, so it's kind of neat to hear kind of his thoughts. What's going on?
Let's see what happens.
With Batman. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's find out.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nate. I'm Batman. I love your show, by the way. Krasner is such a douche. I love that guy. I was listening to your show while saving Gotham from various crazy criminals, and I heard there's going to be a podcast with your 3 weirdest listeners. I might have to step in and stop those freaks from getting together before things get out of hand. There's Flies, or the pillow pet fucker, that freaky pervert Mr. Marshmallow with the small penis. Then there's Meowth. She's an evil furry dominatrix who is basically a Versa from Fire Emblem Awakening, except she rides horses instead of Pegasuses. I feel bad for that Mr. Marshmallow guy, though. He's such a little bitch about being alone. Nobody loves me this, forever alone that. What a pussy. Meowth could own his ass. He's feeble-minded. My question is, if you were gonna bang a male movie character, who would it be? I'd probably go with Chris Hemsworth, a.k.a. Thor, or Terminator, a.k.a. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll see you at the stream.
What a strange what a characterization of Batman, who's way into Fire Emblem. I don't know. Sure. Listen to podcasts while he's patrolling. That might actually happen. Who knows?
Sure.
Got past the time
why
on a
not,
stakeout. Right? Yeah. He's like,
he's like on top of that.
Go down.
He's on top of that gargoyle. But like what you don't see from his silhouette in that like iconic picture that you always see, just him on top of a building looking at the city, is that underneath his mask he has little earbuds in.
Well, he's got like wireless Bluetooth kind of headset in his ears, and he can listen to whatever he wants. So
right.
I don't know. Sorry. Well, there was a couple earlier point in there. No, I guess really the ultimate question
Pegasus
was. I guess this is
that part got me. Pegasus.
Okay. Ultimately, the question was which male movie character? Yes, would you want to bang? So
I think like just movie star. He said Chris Hemsworth.
He did say Chris Hemsworth, a.k.a. Thor, so I was like, do you mean Thor? Okay. Or do you mean Chris Hemsworth, just the guy? Okay. I don't know. Anyway, let's
I mean, if you're going to go, you should probably go big. So Hemsworth is a good pick. I'm just going to say, that's a good pick right there. He's a hot upcoming actor. Like, he's been in quite a few things that are getting good traction and stuff like that. He's decent as an actor, I suppose, if you like the stuff he's been in.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking like dangerous, like weird kind of like you don't want to choose Liam Neeson or Willem Dafoe because they're huge. Huge.
I don't. Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe. That's right.
Dangerous. Yeah. Like just
you don't
speaking. I don't know.
Right. So like practically speaking, you don't want to be ripped apart by Liam Neeson and Willem Dafoe's giant dicks, is what Nathan is saying.
That's what I'm getting at. Is just like there's proofs out there. It's true, 100%. I don't know. Sorry, who are you saying? You're saying Hemsworth's a good choice.
I'm just I'm not into older like women, so I probably wouldn't be into older dudes.
Okay.
But somebody with a little bit more like history behind them would be kind of cool. Where it's just like, I'm just trying to think of somebody here. Like, could you go back in time and fuck somebody? Like a guy.
That's getting a little fantastic.
It's getting too far out, right? This
I
is
guess
like,
so.
You meet up in a bar. Like his
It
thing
sounds like you have someone on the mind though, so I kind of want to hear who it is. It's like, hey, it's Paul Newman. And you're like, oh, okay. Blue eyes, yeah, I got it. But subconscious, apparently that's who I'm thinking of. But
is it Paul
I
Newman?
don't know. But
somebody with like a name to them, because I'm thinking like, if we're gonna fuck a guy, like it better be pretty impressive. I think. I'm just trying. I don't know who that guy would be.
Okay. Now I'm just like
Sir Patrick Stewart, maybe. Like if we're going older, because I would love to hear that voice, like just while you're plowing him from behind,
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I can't even do an impression of him, but I'm pretty sure it would just be like, I got to record the sound bite of me fucking Patrick Stewart.
This is like weird. I don't know. But now I'm just thinking, it's like, well, you're talking about Xavier, but Magneto would actually be way into that because Ian McKellen, he is a prominent gay man. He would,
for sure,
maybe be more inclined. And then you're talking Magneto
too.
Honestly, we're talking Magneto, and this whole time it's just been Michael Fassbender. And I'm like, shit. What does that mean?
Michael Fassbender. Okay.
Apparently, it's Michael Fassbender, and if you've seen Shame, not quite Willem Dafoe, Liam Neeson, Dangerous, but not too short. So not too short from it. Talking about dick length, I'm just in an obscure way. Oh, it's weird. Dicks.
Maybe Hugh Jackman. Maybe.
Okay. Speaking of X-Men now. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know, because like he seems like he would be like an affable fellow, like out like just normally, but he's also a good actor, and he has a big enough name,
friendly, and I don't know.
Yeah, and he has a big enough name to him where it's just like, I fucked Hugh Jackman or Hugh Jackman fucked me.
Sure,
would be impressive in its own regards,
right? That would get people to gather around and seek details, I guess. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He seems like he would be up for cuddling after too. Which it might be important.
That's important.
Although I'm pretty sure if I just got fucked by Wolverine, I wouldn't want to cuddle. So
Fassbender seems cold and creepy in how he actually may be as a person. So I don't know if I'd actively want cuddling time afterwards or anything. This is a weird dilemma. Also, why is Batman the one to bring this to our table? But sure, okay. Thanks, Batman.
I mean, so like. That's a pretty good Batman voice. I kind of enjoyed it, and I was just thinking when
Batman voice, like, while kind of annoying and silly on screen, has resulted in tons of great, putting on that voice, jokey stuff outside of those movies.
I just keep thinking his throat must have killed after doing that for a minute straight.
The gruff, yeah.
Hey, I'm Batman.
Hey, speaking of Batman, though, Christian Bale. What about that guy? It's kind of creepy.
No, fuck that guy.
Too creepy? Okay.
Well, I mean, not literally, but...
So don't fuck that, in fact, is what we're saying.
I would not hit that.
Okay.
American Psycho. Next question. Here we go.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nate. I should probably start this voicemail by saying I'm not mad at you, Nathan, but I am dramatic. Alright, now that's out of the way, here we go. Nathan, what the hell were you thinking? On top-down perspective, you recommended this poor, naive son of a bitch who just got a 3DS get Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Are you out of your goddamn mind? You have brought shame down upon me and the cult of Krasner. Which is also mostly me, but nevertheless, bad Krasner. Bad Krasner. Bad. Okay. Have you not listened to a word I've told you? You just let John and Sean, by the way, that annoys me, their names rhyme, go along with it, despite everything I've told you. You know better, Nathan. Paul, turn on the sad music. In related news, I discovered Meowth probably won't be getting Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate unless someone gets it for her. I almost feel like spending $40 and buying this game for her. I really want to play Monster Hunter with my inner circle of favorite people on the internet. It's so much fun to play with friends.
Tell me.
Hopefully, I can convince her by 2015. I've got time. Okay, you can stop with the sad music. My question is, why don't any girls love me? At least guys will tell me they love me to make me feel better when I'm depressed, which often makes me more depressed. I think it's because I'm fat. It's because I'm fat, isn't it? I'll see you at the stream.
Damn.
Just self-appreciation hour.
I think it's because you don't have enough self-esteem. Maybe. Like,
I mean, Batman seemed pretty down on him too, which was kind of crazy. You know, it was like.
Are you saying Batman has more self-esteem?
Well, no, Batman was trash talking Marshmallow. It was kind of
Marshmallow.
Crazy. Yeah. Wow. Sorry, there was a couple right. What was earlier in the whole thing? Oh yeah.
This was involved that Sean and John rhyme.
Yeah, there's that. There's the Monster Hunter dilemma, which I honestly missed that game was even mentioned in that discussion, so I wouldn't even know to say, hey, actually, didn't that not have this key feature? Not that I knew anyway, so I guess, yeah, sorry we let that slip through. Hopefully that person didn't follow up on that and actually buy that game, I guess, in after that. I don't know, I guess I am not like a good role model in terms of like why aren't girls interested in me? I was like an extremely late bloomer in that entire part of human existence. I was a sullen, quiet person in like high school.
It's a pretty broad brush to stroke with too, because by saying that you kind of assume that all girls are into the same thing, which I can tell you from experience, they're not.
Yeah. Like there's a certain type that media and like, movies and stuff kind of highlight as being, this is the ideal, this is what everyone wants. But
I've never had a girlfriend that like media has portrayed as like that's the type of girl sort of thing. They've all been kind of weird,
Yeah.
like quirky.
None of them were like, I want a girl who will watch anime with me for like 4 hours and eat pretzels. Like that isn't in a movie I've ever seen. So that's what I wanted. So it's like we can do stuff together that we were both already into doing. That's cool. But that took 26 years, 25 years to find. Not that I was actually looking for quite a long time there, but
I always found that the funnest ones to hang out with or whatever were just like we were friends first, and then like something developed out of that. Instead of just like, I need a girlfriend, I'm gonna find this girl on Craigslist or something. You know what I mean? Like if you're if you're outwardly looking, you're gonna find some terrible people. And I'll tell you from very limited experience that that's not the way to do it. That's a bad way to find people.
Right,
I've done
like
the
you
internet
can find
search thing.
Somebody, but they might not be at all what you.
If all you're looking for is like a one night stand sort of thing, then by all means, No, sure. Like by all means, like Plenty of Fish. I remember there was like a time there I was feeling pretty depressed. Found someone on Plenty of Fish, and then there's the one night stand sort of thing, and like my life was not better because of it. So that is not an avenue to go towards if you want something worthwhile. Just find somebody you're comfortable with and that you're friends with, and see where it goes from there. Really.
And I just don't, feel pressure to like that has to be a thing that happens before a certain date, or else I'm like just a spinster. Like I don't know. That seems pessimistic. Like
those like there tropes in TVs and stuff. If we're not married by the time we're 30, we'll marry each other. Like that sort of thing. Like I need to have a kid by the time I'm 30 or something.
Right. Like it seems like I don't know if it's just a generation thing, but it seems like currently like things have been put off about a decade from what the previous generation's timeline was of like married at 20, kid at 23. And it's just like that's not how it goes anymore.
Oh, like, there was timelines where like if you had a daughter and she wasn't married to like royalty or something, by the time she was 12, she was useless.
Kind of, yeah. Like it's like, oh, you have no suitors lined up, and you're just like, no. Well, you're
just going to be a peasant forever, so your kid might as well go to the gallows.
Yeah, like it seems like over the last 200 years that has gradually gone more and more past that date to now it's like in the mid-20s or something or whatever. Right. So I don't know. I wouldn't stress out about it too much. But I guess it can be discouraging, like thinking back to times when I was very much like low self-esteem and depressed about it. Like, yeah.
You get into a weird circle, though, like a weird rut where because you're depressed about it and thinking about it too much, you almost are like repelling.
Yeah, you're almost making it worse. You're just like, fuck it, I don't care what they say. I'm just going to play Oblivion and eat hot dogs. And that was 2006. Like, it was darker times. Yeah, I play Oblivion, eating hot dogs, making spaghetti all the time. It was just like, you know, this loop. And it's kind of weird looking at photos from even just like 5-6 years ago. It's just like, man, I was way less together than I thought or remembered. So, yeah, I don't know. Don't be too worried about it.
Oh, also, like, you have to get out. Like, you have to go. No, you have to go. You physically have to get out of your house.
Yeah. Like, it was weird. Like, it was like the thing that ended up like getting me meeting people and whatever was Reddit, which seemed like the opposite. Like, I'm going to get more into the internet. But then once it became like, man, there's actually meetups and people are going to movies and stuff. It's just like, okay, like, I'll actually go do that. I want to see Dark Knight Rises. You know, like, there was avenues out of my house to go socialize with people and actually, you know, playing board games with people and stuff. Like, there are nerdy ways you can actually have a social life now. Which,
well, I guess what I'm saying is you can't meet people if you never go out and see people. Like, you have to go out and just do stuff.
I guess so. Like, I mean, you can have your internet circle. Like, they were kind of
like when you're in our position here.
Yeah,
like, we're past school, and doing like the hanky-panky sort of thing in the workplace is always frowned upon, and for good reason, because working with people that you're either family with or in a relationship with is probably never a good thing. But, like, it's hard to meet people when you're not going to a certain place every day, like college or something, you know, where you're interacting with a bunch of people. So, like, the best way to quell that maybe is to go out, like, go to the library, sit and read a few books and, like, talk to people a little bit. Go to, like, community meetups for something you're interested in. Like, actually, you have to get out.
There are so many meetup opportunities now. Like, there's more than I know what to do with in terms of, like, oh, there's, like, film clubs. There's, you know, various game meetups and whatever. Like, it's just, like, if I wanted to, I could still go out and do that stuff. I guess I'm just one of those, I'm content with a very small social circle usually. So if I'm not in the, I need new people kind of phase, I am like, I have like 2, 3 people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I see those 2 or 3 people way more now if I'm like in lonely or something. It's kind of weird. So that's just, you know, some people have huge social circles. Some people have really small social circles. Just double down on people, you know, that's fine. But yeah, I made it to 100 floors actually. There's side chat about Tiny Tower going on as being like problematic.
And if you're really in a rut, play an MMO. I knew a lot of people playing World of Warcraft that actually like became married and stuff by meeting through the game. It's weird.
Okay. Do you think that still works now in 2014?
No,
like, is that
probably not?
Okay.
But like, it's a digital meeting place sort of thing, and for World of Warcraft specifically, like when you're in the thick of it, you are logging in every day, talking to the same people, getting to know each other very well. So it works like a digital sort of like bar almost, in which you're slaying a giant monster that takes 20 other people to fight with you or whatever. But like, that's not, as far as meeting people on the internet, that's probably one of the better, safer ways to do it, maybe, than like going on a Craigslist ad or whatever. But anyways, we've been going on way too long about this. Let's go to the next voicemail.
Okay.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nate. So last week we were joined by an awesome listening to Pixel Response Live for the first time, and she had been listening for 8 months. This has led me to believe the 10% rule, where 10% of your listeners show up to watch the show live, is true. I'm here to call out the 90%. Get your butts in here, and I, Mr. Foul Phantom King, a motherfucking Danger Marshmallow, will greet you personally in the chat and give you a free internet hug. I love talking to people in the chat. I want to talk to you through the Twitters, too, so let me into your life. My question is, are there any people you hold a grudge against, like from school or some shit? For me, there was this one asshole in middle school who bullied me, who recently got arrested for dealing meth. I just wish I could have seen the look on his face when he realized he was in a drug bust. Just imagining it makes me smile. Oh man, I bet his mugshot was so perfect. All that shit I went through in middle school and high school, and to hear he could get up to 10 years in prison while I, the juvenile delinquent, who got dragged out of school in handcuffs 3 times, once in 9th grade and twice in 5th grade, is the golden motherfucker of goodness. I'm free, bitches. Suck it. I also hate cops. They brought me across state lines into some bullshit mental hospital in Minnesota. In related news, a cop is being sued for excessive force on a student in my old middle school. I helped that school burn to the ground. I'm fucking 20 years old and I still have nightmares about going back there. I literally wanted to kill myself when I was there. Maybe girls don't love me because I have so much baggage. I'll see you at the stream.
The baggage doesn't help, bro. It doesn't help.
Note. Yeah, I mean, for a while, it was like, oh man, this is way over the line. But then, yeah, dude, the school I went to in grades like 5 and 6 specifically, was like just nightmarish. Like it was just such a terrible time. And like some of those people, I guess I probably do have a grudge in my mind of just kind of like
they ruined your childhood in a way.
They definitely didn't help at all. And yeah, that was a rough kind of weird little period.
I had the same problem between that, like grade 4 to grade 8, I would say. So like I get where he's coming from. Yeah. Especially like the wanting to kill yourself stuff, because when you're young and stuff, it really does feel like it's never going to end.
Yeah, it's just like there's weeks and weeks and years of this. Like I am in grade, like it's like this, like maybe that's like the hump is like grade 6. It's like there are like 6 more years of this, and if they are all like this, oh man, like it was just like recesses where I would just like wander around and like just not talk to anybody. It was just like I must have looked crazy, but
it's such a cliche thing to say, but like it does bear repeating. It actually does get better. Like, it's such a dumb thing to say, but it's true. It really does. Up to a certain
point. Like, it's kind of this weird thing where, like, I've been kind of... We've been seeing, like, shows with prisons and stuff. And I've just been kind of like, man, like, that is the only way to, like, continue the pattern established by early life of, like, you are fed at a certain time and, like, you have scheduled activities and, like, someone is actually caring about how your life is managed in a way. Whereas, like, past a certain point, there's like, all right, you should be ready. And you're just like, how? Like, this is nothing like what I just had for 12 years. You know? Like, It's not like people are like, care about what you learn or what you know or what you plan to do. Past a certain point, they just don't care anymore. It's kind of weird. Like, it's like, I almost miss the structure. And it's like, I don't know. Like, university was so much wider open and flexible in the structure that, like, I kind of built my own.
There was basically no structure. Like, what university and college is that you're paying for the ability to show up when somebody's talking about something you're interested in, and then get a paper afterwards.
And then you get a paper after. It's so weird because it's like that doesn't necessarily equal job, and like I don't know. It seems like there's just a maladjustment to how things actually work past a certain point, and like school didn't train me for that, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to play in the current system. So I don't know, it's a little bit tangential to what we're talking about, but yeah, no, there are people, I'm just going to call you out. Josh, you suck. I hate you. Man, that guy sucks.
Are we calling people out?
Calling people out. Josh was terrible. Okay. He was the son of a pastor, and that did not make him a better person.
He was the son of a preacher man?
He was an asshole. Oh, man. Grade 6. You know who you are. I don't know. I think there were, like, times after that where, like, I thought I might have, like, run into somebody in a mall or something. Like, there were, like, people messing with me in a Walmart. This is a weird, specific, vague story, and I apologize. Okay. It was, like, I was in a toy section, and I heard people, like, laughing and then run around the corner, and I was like, what the hell is this? Is this that dude? Is he back? Like, that's how bad the scars were. Like, I was assuming this was that guy taunting me some more. I was like, man, this is weird. So, sure, yeah, that dude. Or do you want to call anyone out?
Yeah, this kid named Luke at the time.
Okay.
Every time I think about him, I just imagine his head on a fucking pike somewhere. Like, he should probably just get fucking executed like jihad style or something. Like, he should be the type of person to go to Afghanistan, get captured, and then I get to watch his stupid fucking head cut from his stupid fucking neck.
Jesus. Okay, I didn't hate anyone to that point.
No, I hated him. He needs to die. He needs to be eradicated, and his parents, so they can't continue the bloodline ever.
Oh, man. You just remind me, there was this episode of Louis that really resonated with me about bullies. Like, it's like he is on a date, and like these young teenagers kind of hassle him, and then he follows that kid to his house, but then talks to his parents about it. And it was just like, I was like, this is such a crazy episode. Like, I could totally see 40-year-old me having all this like baggage about that period and like trying to deal with it in a mature way. Like, it was like, I don't know. I found that weirdly astute. I was just like totally caught up in that. I don't know. Like, you know, do that. Like, I got to talk to his parents. And then you find out, the dad is very aggressive and kind of started this pattern and made his kid that way. And it kind of echoes through the generations or whatever. I don't know. That was a really cool episode. But yeah, I mean, the people, like, kind of the weird, petty, kind of assurance I was given by like counselors and stuff sometimes was like, hey, don't worry about it. People who are really aggressive and jerks like that, they'll end up being working at the gas station and washing your car. Was kind of like this weird solace. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't like that's such a weird, petty revenge thing in its own way. Yeah. And like, I don't know, that might not even work out. Like, the aggressive assholes could be the next Jordan Belfort and be on top of the mountain, you know? Like,
I remember a counselor saying something like that to me when I was growing up, and I said, that's complete bullshit, and you know it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, at this point, I was probably in like grade 7. So like, I was cognizant enough to realize that like, there's people in power that were those assholes. So it's just like, you don't really believe that, right? Sort of thing. Like
it's almost like maybe they were bullied too, and that's like what they have to tell themselves is like, it'll all work out.
And then they're a school counselor. Like, it'll work out just like it worked out for you, right? You fucking loser.
Yeah.
You become the bully.
It is kind of depressing when you start seeing that kind of like totally like, oh man, okay, not to get too specific about where I work, but it is super discouraging to see people like 30 years older than me in the same kind of general strata, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I could be here forever. Like, that could happen because there's somebody right there who is way older than
I have
me,
4 people working with me that are 50 years old.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit scary, but then at the same time, there's like another job I've worked at where I was the old one at 23 years old and everyone else was like 16 and stuff. And then you're just like, I feel like I shouldn't be here.
Like, I don't know where to fit in. Yeah. It's like, I'll go to stores I used to work at and just be like, oh man, like, yeah, everyone here is like a kid now. So like, I couldn't even go back to this if I needed to, cause I would just look weird. So yeah, I'm like, I'm kind of like a middleman at the store I'm at now, where it's just like not the youngest by far, but nowhere near the oldest either. I'm just kind of another drifter. Like, it's kind of like, I mean, it's not to be just too discouraging, but it's like, yeah, it gets better up to a point, and then that's kind of really up to how things go. Like, it could just kind of stagnate for quite a while. Yeah. But hey, there's focus on the good stuff, right? There's still good things in there. Ciabatta bread's pretty good.
For what it's worth, I'm glad you didn't kill yourself.
What? Thanks.
Not you.
Oh, okay.
Him. Yeah, because he said that he wanted to die or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're still here.
Yeah.
I've known too many people that actually took that way out. So, Suicide High. If you look it up, that's the school I went to. Let's go on to the next voicemail.
Really? We don't want to... Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I don't know. It's just kind of... I feel like weirdly responsible to kind of be a little more reassuring or something, but... Yeah, it's... Like, I mean, some people do feel kind of trapped by the structure stuff. Like, I kind of... Apparently kind of enjoyed it. You know? Like, but some people feel like school restrains them and doesn't let them kind of do what they want, or doesn't quite fit what they want. So, like... You might, it's very possible you'll be one of those like people that like thrives in the workplace or something, or really finds something they can get passionate about at the right time. Whereas, I kind of just don't know what to do with myself most of the time. And yeah, kind of a lot of time passes with just kind of like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna just kind of watch this or hang out here or listen to this podcast. So yeah.
You know what's rough too is that when you're already kind of shaky about that and you're just like, things are never going to get better, and then like 3 kids that are in your school kill themselves, that leads to kind of like a, well, I could do that too sort of thing. It's a weird atmosphere that creates.
Yeah. So it's like it kind of enters the conversation as like, well, that is an option. It's like, no, it really shouldn't be. Like, that's not
right.
That's not what it's supposed to happen. But man, I guess I was thinking like, you know, I haven't even really done the thing of like looking up where those people are now, which is so easy now in the information age. Like, I don't even know. Maybe all those people were incarcerated. Maybe they're totally fine. I bet a bunch of them have families.
See, I do that. I actually look at every now and then when I feel that way, I go on Facebook and kind of like look them up. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just angry that they're still like alive and have kids and do like have normal jobs and stuff.
Right. There's a Louie about that too. So I like that show. Anyway, watch Louie. Great. It's a solution to, well, whatever.
Topical.
It's not a solution. It is like a you know, shoulder. I don't know, another commiserator with a lot of these problems.
Right.
Like, yeah. No, yeah. Other people are thinking about this and kind of summing it up in cool ways. So, anyway. Sorry, yeah. There you go.
That's voicemail.
Next voicemail.
Here we go.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nathan. So, I heard Paul has started watching Space Dandy.
I have.
It's pretty awesome. Am I right?
Yep.
I know Nathan won't watch it because his life is so busy.
Yeah.
He will.
But anyways, hey, Paul.
Hey.
Have you ever thought of any of us from the chat as the Space Dandy cast? I mean, I know you would be Dandy, but who would everyone else be?
I would be Dandy.
Apparently. So you're Space Dandy. Who are your cohorts?
My name's Dandy. You can call me Space Dandy.
Does he actually?
That's quite a few times.
Okay.
It's funny because he uses it like a term of endearment or whatever. And like, I think the first episode even, where he's like, name's Dandy, but you can call me Space Dandy to one of the like boobies waitresses.
Yeah.
But then like in a later episode, he's just like uses it where it's just like, that's Space Dandy to you. So it's like, what?
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, crew. Meowth is Meow, obviously, because the name.
Yeah, okay. That seems that's logical, yeah.
She's the cat person, I guess.
I guess, sorry, just to continue the Spaceballs analogy, is like that like the Barf character to Lone Star?
Sure.
Like, but like the giant animal cohort. Is that true?
Yeah, let's go with that. Sure.
Okay, sure. Okay.
He's not giant, though. He's just like a cat almost mixed with like a weasel or something. He's small.
Okay.
But Marshmallow, my right-hand man there, he's obviously QT, the robot.
Okay.
And Nathan is Honey, the boobies waitress.
What?
Who I want to bang.
Oh, man. Just bringing the fanfic right into the
oh,
show.
Why did you say that? I forgot all about that. I didn't even remember that existed.
Okay. All right.
There's only 3 characters, and if you've already said I'm Space Dandy, there's only 2. So it's like there's the crew right there.
Not a lot of people to cast then, but gotcha. No. I mean, we've been trying to like finish a show before we add another show to the roster, so it can be slotted in. But yeah, I'm not so.
It is only 8 episodes.
Yeah, like that's actually been a big thing. Like the True Detective is only 8 episodes, Broadchurch is only 8 episodes. It's like, hey, this is only 8 episodes, so we can watch it.
Yeah,
like that's really helps if the show.
And they're half an hour episodes.
That's good news. It's good to hear because a lot of stuff I'm watching is like an hour long. So yeah, all right. Space Dandy cast.
Next voicemail. Here we go.
So apparently, according to last week's episode, I apparently have more integrity than Nathan does. That's quite an interesting compliment there, Paul. Okay. Anyways, Marshmallow is kind of beating me in terms of voicemail quality, because I'm not really making any of you guys laugh as much as he is.
Have to?
So, do you have any tips on how I could make my voicemail as hilarious as his? Because I can't really think of anything.
Do you have to be hilarious?
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of just don't mind some. Hey, I got a question. This is on my mind. I want a question.
Like, if I'm going to separate the two, I'm going to say marshmallows are more like weird, absurd things to talk about.
Like, hey, it's a song this week, or you know, he got his friend Batman to phone in, you know, stuff like that.
Like the special move and finisher and stuff like that. Whereas, like, when Meowth talks or sends in a voicemail, it's like there's a direct purpose behind it about wanting to know, like, specific opinions on a piece of media or, like, our opinions on something else. So they're two different things, and they both have a place, I think.
Yeah, if one tries to be too much like the other, then it's kind of all runs together. I don't know.
If anything, I think the two play off each other well, because there's a good mix now of that. So I don't think you need to change anything.
Yeah, weird offbeat queries, and then questions. So,
and you keep Nathan to task on stuff he says he'll do and doesn't.
Yeah, like that Pokemon Gold. And I guess, to be clear, we still haven't seen each other to do the Pokemon exchange, so, man. Yeah. Sorry, I should do that. I should travel up there. Dude.
It was a bad day today. It was like negative 40 or something. Fuck that.
You're right. It was insanely cold today in a way that was like, I don't want to get out of bed, and then once that hurdle was finished, it was like, we should just stay here. Like, I don't know. We've eventually ventured out like a few blocks from here to get some supper. But yeah, no, it is miserable out there. Minus 40 Celsius, like with wind chill. Imagine that.
That isn't the coldest we get. But
that's not even the coldest we get. And I was hearing like talk about Saskatchewan area being like minus 60. With like, it's just, that's subarctic. Like, that's nuts.
That's actually colder than the Arctic generally gets in the summer.
I know. It's kind of insane how cold, you know. Yeah, humans up here, we probably shouldn't live here. That was actually, weirdly, that was like the one piece of advice like my grandpa just laid down at his 90th birthday party, was move somewhere where the winter isn't like this. Like, that was, you know, after 90 years, like, this is my conclusion. Winter's bullshit. Don't live there. It's like, oh, okay. We were in Edmonton at the time.
It is a little bit funny, though, like, when we're talking about the winter sort of thing here, and it's like, I think it makes us, like, it's just a different breed of people altogether, because it's like you go down the States or whatever, and they, like, put on a hoodie or whatever, because it's, like, plus 10 Celsius, and that's cold.
Like, it's a little frosty, and you're just like, what are you
And it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? You want frosty, motherfucker?
Like, I guess part of it is like literally your body acclimates to specific climates, so they actually are cold. Like, they feel cold at 10 the way we do at like
negative
10.
20.
Yeah, like, it's like kind of just different, you know, climates. You just adapt. You evolve.
That's like I remember when I went to San Diego, it was boiling hot, and like we were told that like
a wet heat. I got sunburned there. Like, it was weird. Like, I felt better in Vegas than I did in San Diego, and it was only like 20 something.
It's definitely a wet heat, but like it was very, very hot, and people were saying like, no, this is just like a normal day sort of thing, which makes me wonder how Mega 64 like lives there, does their crazy weird like videos and stuff, and they're not dripping in sweat 24/7.
Like, I guess it goes both ways. Like, when you hear about, oh dude, there's like a heat wave going through this part of the world, like people are dying because it's too hot, you're just kind of like, you know, we're accustomed to cold. I bet I would just be totally wiped out by something like that. Like, just be like,
that's like when the people in Texas are saying they have like a snowfall and it's like 2 centimeters and the city shuts down.
Yeah,
it's like, bitch, fucking 12 centimeters. We keep things going. Like,
there were some amazing photos coming out of, I think, Carolina, when it was like there was some snowfall and there was like a car on fire and a bunch of vehicles in the ditch, and you're just like, what is happening? Like, it was that dramatic. It was really funny to see, because it's just like, that is like DEFCON 9 or something over there, and it's just like, dude, that's decent. That's like not a bad day. You don't even need to send out the full fleet of like shovel trucks to deal with that. It's, I don't know.
Like, when they finally got to cleaning my street here, there was like when the snow builds up and turns into ice and stuff, because like the days are a little bit warmer, the sun's out, so it melts a little bit of the snow. Then at night it freezes into a deep freeze and it becomes ice or whatever.
Yeah.
Before they finally cleaned our area, the street was coated with about 2 to 3 feet thick of pure ice. So they had to grab the trucks that like scrape, like bulldozing type trucks, but they're specifically made just to scrape. And there was just mountains in the middle of the street of like ice chunks and shit like that. So it's like, so then like when you're looking at the whatever of like a light dusting and people are just like freaking the fuck out, you're just like, what? I don't understand how this is even a thing.
Yeah, like even without winter tires and everything, like you guys shouldn't be panicking as much as you are. It's kind of weird, but I guess we're just accustomed to more insane conditions on the cold end of things. Like heat waves, we don't have air conditioners or anything. Like, I don't know. It could get real bad.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's worth saying too. Like, when it gets hot here, like, quite hot, it's bad. Like, it's really bad. People are, like, dehydrated and stuff because we're not.
Yeah, I remember days where we'd be like, like, we got to sleep in the basement tonight. Like, it's too hot upstairs, and we have no way to deal with it. Like, we just need to go downstairs. And it was just, like, family sleepover in sleeping bags in the basement because it's too hot. So,
and like you would have all the fans in the house on in the same room just to get like
to recirculate the air enough to kind of keep it manageable. Yeah, no, it would get kind of crazy. We can't handle the other end of the scale as well as other people. So, pluses and minuses, give and take, all that.
Okay, next voicemail. Here we go.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nathan. When do we do the Attack on Titan spoiler cast? Oh. And also, I am currently watching Hunter x Hunter, and that anime just keeps getting more and more epic with each episode I see. So would you ever consider watching that?
Probably not.
Is it Hunter x Hunter?
Could you picture Nathan as, like, that crazy person who is with that sign that says End of the World? But instead of that, he's like a guy that's picketing outside the movie theater saying, "Don't go to the Lego movie, it's a commercial." Because for some reason, when Nathan said a whole spiel about the Lego movie, I just picture him being a boycott or something. Like, don't see the Lego movie. You'll just be brainwashed into buying their Lego products.
This is way too amusing.
It would be pretty funny, especially if you used Lego blocks as the sign.
No, why would I do that? Like a proper sandwich board, billboard sign. I don't know.
You're just like, this couple's just walking up to the theater
with their kid or something. You're just like, no!
You just see you naked there with a sandwich board sign, just being like, no, stop! What are you doing? Your money,
like, this, guess how much it costs for a ticket to this? $1,000. That's how much.
Your soul, your childhood.
I did get a commercial. Pretty upset. I think I used bee in my bonnet about it, and I think that's pretty much what it was. But
I probably won't watch Hunter x Hunter.
What is it like? Really, I'm looking at.
That's the thing. I don't know anything about it, but I'm like just gonna say there's other stuff on my plate that I know I like right now. So I probably won't get to it for a long time. If
I'm just seeing like 2000, like 1999, 2001, kind of looks like when this came out. But that's just Wikipedia. So, a second anime television series began airing in 2011. So that's probably what we're actually talking about.
Probably,
they were also recommending the new Full Metal Alchemist over the old one. So, yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, I'm glad my outrage was funny. Like, I don't know. I can't handle that movie. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. But it's already happened. So you're saying maybe when Lego Movie 2 comes out, next time my blood will get up high enough where, I'll have to head down to the movie theater with a sign and just let people know. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe I'll start a hashtag or something. I could see it being that passive.
Hashtag fuck Lego.
Something.
Just I said straight to the point.
Yeah, just like super grouchy and crab man about that. Like, just reply at people who are liking it and just let them know that they're stupid.
The only thing you're saying is it's a commercial, hashtag fuck Lego.
Yeah. It's like, cool, you paid to see a toy commercial. Fuck Lego. Just go down the list. The last time I was like, actively participating in the Twitter discussion like that was VGX, because a lot of people were really mad about it, and I was just kind of like, I kind of liked it. Like, just kind of replying like that. I typically don't discuss things with Twitter at large. I just throw a mark out there here and there. So, I don't know. Do you do that? Do you, like, jump into the discussion? Like, Screw Knight, should usually. I get in there and be like, no, shut up. 12 Years a Slave is way better than Gravity.
You're talking about hashtags specifically, and not like if you see two friends on there like talking about something, then you're saying like, I thought it was good. Like, that's not jumping in to the conversation. That's just kind of putting your 2 cents in, right?
No, yeah, I mean like jumping into hashtag discussions and just kind of.
The last one for me was the International 3 for Dota. Okay. Hashtagging shit, and like when people were talking about it, just being like, no, I think he has a really good chance or whatever. He's been looking good this year. Just like getting right in there sort of thing. I was totally doing that. But that was the only time I think I've ever done that. So, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't usually do that either.
I guess tomorrow is an opportunity. Got them Oscars. I've seen most of those movies, so got those opinions. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really have any, like, I think one year we did, like, Oscar predictions or, like, Oscar discussion.
2011.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, I've seen a lot of the movies. I don't really have, too much invested in, like, it's like, will DiCaprio win this year? Like, he might. I kind of wish he did 10 years ago, though. Like, I liked The Aviator more. But, yeah. Kate Blanchett might win. I don't know. Jennifer Lawrence is probably going to win another one. It's probably going to happen. But, yeah. Oscars.
Next voicemail?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Fun fact, did you know the Blue's Clues wiki page has over 2,006 files and over almost close to 2,000 articles?
Nope.
On a related note, how sure are you that Meowth is a furry?
Not very.
I don't know if Meowth is a furry, specifically because first of all, her name stems from a Pokemon. Not that she thinks she's a cat, right? Like, if anything, it would be like, I am Meowth, the human Pokemon, essentially, because Meowth talks.
Like, Meowth is my spirit animal. I dress up like Meowth all the time.
Sure, but even in that regard, it's just kind of like, you pick the most human of an animal archetype sort of thing.
Okay, but like, anthro business, isn't that kind of...
I have never... I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is I have never heard Meowth say something about wanting to fuck a horse, or like a Pegasus, or like something... Or a whale. You know what I mean? I've never had her want to like make out with a dog or something. Like, I've never heard specifically
substantiates that notion. No. So I don't know where that really comes from. I mean, I think one of Marshmallow's things said that too, right? Something along that line. In the Batman one.
It might just be Batman thinks she's a furry apparently. But
that was kind of the riff on that.
He also called Flizer a pillow fucker.
Is that based on
a pillow pal? Like, those
body pillows, pal? Right?
No, not a body pillow. It was like those animals, a pillow animal or something like that, where it was like a ladybug or whatever, and then you would undo the like Velcro and it was a pillow.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't see the furry thing. Like, if we're getting down to like what the definition of a furry in like internet culture or subcultures is, then no.
Yeah, no. But if it's like, hey, I was, browsing Rule 34, the subreddit, as I usually do, and there's some Sonic stuff. Like, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Or is it? Line call, what do you think, Judge? You clicked on the link, are you furrying it up?
Oh, like, if you're just like, here's a link to something, and I click it, and like, I see Sonic fucking Tails.
Sure, yeah, does that qualify as like
a furry?
Cross the line.
I'm not a furry, but you might be for providing me with that link.
Okay, so if I'm shopping them links around, I got my folder full of stuff.
So if Meow started being like, "Hey, check this link out. It's a crocodile, fucking like anything, a fox or whatever."
Okay,
and it's just like she might be a furry, but I am not for clicking on that link unless she specifically tells me what it is. And then
I guess I always thought furry specifically required like a certain level of investment. Like it's like you have a costume, you go to meetups or something. Like there's a little more to it than just like I have seen anthro weirdness on the internet. It's like, oh, okay, that's not really the same. I was like, I played Dust and Elysian Tale and I thought it was okay or whatever. Like it's like, nah, it's not the same thing. I watched the Robin Hood Disney movie. Like it's not the same.
Disney was really bad for creating the generation of furries.
Yeah, you look back and it's just like, this is why this happened. Like,
and Bugs Bunny dressing up as a lady, making you all sexually crazy as a kid.
We were watching like old Warner Brothers cartoons and like Disney cartoons from like the dicey era, when they were like like more than a little racist and extremely political. Like the war ones are kind of amazing. Like how many like Hitler pops up a lot in animated form. And it's kind of amazing to see. But then, there was like one that wasn't even like any of their licensed characters or anything, but it was very like racist. And like there was like, what was it? There was like one thing where it was like they were hiring some hitmen or assassins or whatever, and like the sign says, "Hey, like $1 per kill, midgets half price, Japs free." And it was just like, wow, okay. This came out in 1940.
It was an era
or something. Yeah. There was a time where that could get by, and now they're kind of trying to cover that up. So the internet has all of this dirty laundry, and it's kind of awesome.
And speaking of furries, one last thought on this before we move on.
Okay.
Is that one listener that Marshmallow was talking about, who's been listening to us for a few months now and finally decided to pop in and like become part of.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was the other kind of thing. Yeah.
That's Tessa. For like we didn't say specifically before, Pander.
Yeah, big fan of VLR. Told me to stick with it. That was kind of the interaction on Twitter. That was like, oh yeah, okay.
She has a weird insight to the furry community that not a lot of people I know do, and she, I believe, was saying she's planning on maybe doing up an editorial for the site about what she has learned about that subculture. So if the furry thing interests people, like that will likely be a thing that you'll be able to read on from somebody who was part of the community.
Yeah. I know there was a documentary on Vimeo I watched part of that maybe I should finish, but like I don't know. Yeah, it's dedicated thing. Oh, I guess also there was like kind of calling out people who don't show up to the live thing. I don't know if that's there's going to be a big percentage of people that listen after the fact or while something's going on. So I don't really want to yell at them too harshly. But hey, if like even 10% reviews on iTunes, that would be really cool.
That'd be really and thumbs up on Stitcher. Both of those.
Yeah, both of these things. Really like those are meaningful feedback. Meaningful feedback that helps us out. So
should I quickly describe why it's important to thumbs up on Stitcher? Because I'm pretty sure you don't even know.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't use Stitcher personally because I don't have data. So yeah.
So Stitcher is a app and a website sort of thing where you can kind of just like add favorites or whatever for podcasts and stuff, and it'll automatically take the feed from whatever podcast is on there, put it through their thing, make it really small so you can listen to it on mobile or in your car now and all that sort of stuff. But what happens when you thumbs up or like favorite stuff is that it is kind of like the Reddit system of upvoting. So if more people are thumbs upping something, that show will automatically go onto like the top shared like stuff, and then people browsing lists will see it more readily.
Oh, okay.
So like it's a way to kind of, it's almost like the Reddit sort of way where it's like the more upvotes or thumbs up it gets, the more readily available it will be to people just browsing. That's why it's pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Like just kind of greater exposure or whatever, which might create this weird problem we were talking about. Like, suddenly 15,000 people. But if it's gradual, this is a nice way to gradually get it out there. So yeah.
I'm sorry that we used your voicemail time as a way to advertise the podcast, but it works. I would like it if more people listened, I guess, and not for the whole we want 10,000 people listening to us at all times, but more because the more people joining in and expressing their opinions on stuff, how would we have ever possibly gotten this exposure to furry culture that we might be getting from one of our listeners if she didn't step forward at some point?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
I don't know. Nice environment where people can talk about that and not be upset about it or get yelled at.
I told the story about that friend of mine who had a furry in his school, right? That wore the tail and ran an internet site where he wrote erotic fan fiction of foxes and what was his thing? Was it a lynx? His animal?
Oh, okay.
I think it was lynx. I think he referred to himself as the lynx.
But wait, then wouldn't the tail be really short then? Because lynx have really small...
was.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Honestly,
just making sure he's accurate.
When he wore it, it looked like a piece of shit hanging out of his pants, sort of thing. So, I don't know. Anyways, let's go on to the next voicemail. Here we go.
Hello, Nathan and Paul. So how do you guys deal with temptation? Here's what I do. I bring my chin down to protect my neck while continuing to stare into their eyes. I bring up my hands and say, I don't want no trouble, you hear? You then flex your traps in your core, slightly bend your knees. Now here comes the important part. In a low voice, begin to say walla 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 walla, slowly increasing in volume. He should be surprised by now. Begin to sway side to side and loosen all facial muscles, and your anal sphincter, and your Kegel muscle. By now you should be pretty loud and your opponent will have stepped back and will appear visibly shaken. Begin to piss and shit yourself and let your eyes roll into the back of your head. By now you are chanting walla 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 at the top of your lungs. Everyone within a 1 mile radius will feel a terrifying presence within their soul. Marvel as you ascend into your planar form.
What is this advice
is that
for?
You?
Is this warding off
confrontation? How do you deal with confrontation?
Okay. So this is kind of fake
is that Dwight
or
calling in from The Office? What the hell? What's that?
I don't know, but there's some pro tips, I guess.
There's some good advice there. I mean, the way I deal with confrontation is probably to avoid it.
I've never really been in a situation that's getting volatile quickly and I don't know what to do. I guess that could be a get out of jail card on that of just this has gotten crazy. I just need to bail out and act weird and get out of it. But I guess there was a kind of battle brewing at Big Cheese when I went there, but it didn't involve me. So I didn't see how that panned out.
I'm glad you brought up Big Cheese because they unfollowed me on Twitter.
What?
So, Big Cheese, no longer the official sponsor for the Pixel Response podcast and all subsidiary content. However, if we're ever in Calgary, Alberta, I would still say maybe check them out. They're kind of delicious. But anyways, fuck them.
That's unfortunate. You were talking about them too much, or you were just too crazy, too angry?
After everything I did for them, I had 3 people... after tweeting one thing about them being a sponsor, being that sounds delicious. Next, if I'm ever there, we should go there. That's free advertisement from one.
Right, and I went there after that. When a friend brought it up, I was like, oh, I heard about that place. I should go. And they got a Scottish curry, purchase.
And there. We started up the hashtag, you get out what you poutine. Things we have done.
That is such a huge
the audacity of these people.
Yeah. Well, that's sad, but
anyway, you should go for your poutine now? McDonald's. That's right.
They actually
went
have
there.
Poutines there?
They love to see you smile. I don't think they use that slogan anymore.
Wait, is McDonald's actually taking a crack at poutines? Is this the thing? Oh, okay.
Oh, they've had poutine for a bit.
Oh, okay. Weird. Sorry, I guess I saw a fight brewing at that place, and neither party did that. So that's kind of the one recent example of that perhaps being a viable way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Because it was getting crazy. So
come on, let's be serious here. If a fight's brewing, like somebody wants to hit you, if you shit, you only have to shit your pants and they're going to back off.
I guess
that's just the way it goes. The rest of that's, let's be efficient here. Mm-hmm. A fight's brewing. The first thing you do is you shit your pants, and then if they keep coming closer, you grab a handful of that shit and then put it up into their grill. That's all you do.
Tactics. That's like chimp fighting.
And you never see the chimps creating global warfare or nuclear devices.
You're right. That's true. They occasionally scrap, but the body counts are way lower. So,
dude, the apes know where it's at. It's all about chimp fights.
Yeah, emulate our cousins in the evolutionary ladder. All right, walla walla walla.
Okay. Last voicemail. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me tell you about my favorite president. His name is Andrew Jackson. He survived 103 duels. He fucked a bitch while she was still married. Beat his would-be assassin with a cane until he had to be pulled back by senators because he was being too rough. In one duel, Jackson got shot, raised his pistols, and shot the other duelist with a bullet near his heart. He kicked dirty engine fuckers out west. He killed the National Bank. He defended New Orleans from 8,000 redcoats with the help of motherfucking pirates and freed slaves. He sent redcoats with their tails behind their legs after they suffered 2,100 calories, killing all commanding officers while sustaining 13 casualties and 58 injured. He receives 1,400 pounds of cheese. His wife complained about the smell after 2 years, so he gives the common man some forks to come over and eat that 1,400-pound cheese wheel. Gone within 2 hours. Supposedly, his parrot had to be removed from his funeral because it swore too much. On a related note, who's your favorite fascist dictator?
I guess it's kind of weird because like Andrew Jackson was recently put on my radar by House of Cards season 2, specifically because of his very aggressive tone towards Native Americans. There's kind of a point of contention with a painting of him being prominent in the office meeting is taking place in.
Oh,
fun fact. I did not know all these weird legendary things that man has gotten up to. That's kind of crazy. That's stories I haven't heard. So, you hear about like George Washington and the cherry tree, or like, what's that one thing? The Valley Forge or something. American Legends, whatever. The Crossing. I don't know. American history, not really a subject in our schools.
It actually isn't at all a subject in our school.
Him fighting off his own assailant, though, that's pretty cool. Like, I kind of
with a cane. That's great.
Sure. Like, where's that biopic?
The senators had to pull him back.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna kill this guy. It's like, oh, well, he was trying to shoot the president. So, I wonder if all of this was while he was in office, though. I'm wondering how much of this happened during his presidency. But okay. Anyway,
I'm gonna say Coney.
Favorite fascist dictator? I don't even know if he qualifies because he's like a guerrilla kind of resistance leader, right? With the child army.
Still a leader.
Yeah.
Fascist. I don't know if he qualifies either. Like, are you trying to bait it, Hitler? There you go. I said the word. Like, are you trying to bait it out? Who else is there? Like, I guess. Oh my God! What the fuck?
Well, Stalin, right? Like, I mean, there's a bunch of Soviet leaders that are kind of like, Vladimir.
You know what? Honestly, I kind of liked where Stalin's head was at in a way. Like, he did some atrocities, but it always felt like there was a goal towards them, and not just like that goal being let's kill off all the Jews.
Right. It didn't seem rooted in any one hatred. It was just kind of he was insane. So reading about it's a little more fascinating, I guess. It's not just like, yeah, he's this hateful bigot. It's like,
I never did like Mussolini.
Yeah. Although he was way into film. Like, that was kind of a thing I learned in, like, this film festival class. Is, like, that dude started movie festivals in Italy and, like, was a big movie fan. So it's kind of weird.
But he's like the poor man's Stalin or Hitler, though.
Yeah.
So, like,
he did not rank during that era of, like, world leaders. I mean, he is in one of the Disney cartoons I watched. Donald Duck talks some smack about Mussolini. But... yeah, he was not he's not in the same tier of fascism. I'm trying to think, who's that dude during, like, Khrushchev, maybe? During Kennedy's reign?
Okay.
I think so. Just he was Bob Hoskins in that World War II movie. So, that's my rationale. Bob Hoskins played him in Enemy at the Gates, and Khrushchev seems like he might be kind of a cool cat. But, he was at the, had the big seat in the Soviet Union, so he might have gotten up to some bad business over the years. I don't really know. I guess he's not evil, like, as much as some of these other guys, so actual favorite, maybe Khrushchev. Nikita Khrushchev. He's also features in Metal Gear Solid 3, one of the greatest video games. So, there you go.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Thank you, people, for the voicemails. We enjoy them immensely every week and appreciate every single one we get. And if you feel like sending something in, this is how you do it.
Got a question or comment for the show? You can email us at podcast@pixelresponse.com or leave a voicemail using the voicemail feature on the right side of the main page. On Twitter, you can reach Nathan at Krasnor and Paul at Exposure. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/thepixelresponse and visit pixelresponse.com for more.
It is just that simple. We try to make it easy for you because I don't know. I always found it weird when we were doing this, and it's like the Pixel Response. We never got any responses. So it's like, let's make it easy. Instead of opening up your email and then typing in all those letters, why don't you just hop on Twitter and be like, yo, what did you think of the Lego movie? Or click that button that says, like, leave a voicemail, click that record button, and then talk about how you're Batman and how you like the show and who would you fuck. Like, why not?
Yeah, just make it easier to respond.
That's all it is.
Life finds a way.
Oh, that's no, right. A screen cap from this very podcast is on my Twitter feed.
Already?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, man.
Just kind of leaning back.
Anyways, I think that's going to do it for us this week. We've been rambling on for a long time, and we thank everybody that listens every single week, live or downloading after. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.